It's Valentine's Day. Chocolates wrapped in cute DIY packages, sweet confessions of love. She has everything ready. Tomorrow she's finally going to confess to Hyunwoo after crushing on him for 2 years. But of course, just when she's made up her mind, the manager decides today's the perfect day for a team dinner. Of all days, he just has to pick today. She was going to give Hyunwoo the chocolates after work, but now she's stuck here drinking with everyone instead. The manager frowns at his soju, sniffs it, asks if someone put chocolate in it. She wishes someone had put something in hers too. She sighs. She's been waiting for this. She remembers the first time Hyunwoo said her name was cute. She thought about it every night for a week. She knew she had to confess eventually, but she kept putting it off. And now that she's finally ready, the manager just has to ruin it with his timing. She's already annoyed when he suddenly turns to her and asks if she's seeing anyone. She says no. He asks how old she is. Isn't she in her late 20s? She says she's 27. He stares like she just told him she's secretly 80. What, seriously? He starts going on about how women are in high demand until 24, but after 25 things change, and once they hit 30, they're out of options. She already knows where this is going. The others start whispering about how women should settle down early, have kids before 30, heaven forbid they wait too long. She sighs, drinks her soju. If she says anything, he's just going to go on for another hour. She should be the bigger person. Let it go. Just let it go. She looks at Hyunwoo. He's laughing at something someone said. She hopes she still gets a chance to confess today. Hyunwoo interrupts the manager by saying marriage doesn't have to be a priority for someone who's 27, and that, in fact, it's still quite young since most couples wait until after 30. And Dajung, watching him, thinks he's her hero. The manager grumbles about young people these days, insisting that if no one marries or has kids, what will become of the country's future? And he turns to Dohun for his opinion, to which Dohun replies that marriage and childbirth are personal choices and no one, not even the government, should force anything on an individual. The manager then reminds him of his previous proposition, assuring him there's no pressure, just one meal with her is all he's asking for, while Sunung praises her by noting she has his wife's fair skin, pretty face, and is also a very good chef, prompting one employee to mutter that the conversation is getting a bit uncomfortable and another to agree, imagining how hard it must be for him. Meanwhile, Mr. Ji Dohoon stands out as the poster child of perfection. Graduated from a famous Australian university, scouted by a conglomerate, promoted at lightning speed, with a face like an actor, a body like a supermodel, and a work ethic that seems like a real-life cheat code. And although all the girls go crazy for him, Dajung can't help but wonder if his cool, detached air is because he's living in another world even when someone is right next to him. Dohun is quiet, and the manager asks if he's seeing someone. Dohun says he's not, but he can't help sneaking glances at Dajung. She notices him staring and wonders why. The manager teases Dohun, saying he knows he's busy, but can make time for his daughter, who's really nice. Dajung sees Hyunwoo leaving and panics, thinking she might not get another chance to talk to him. She rushes outside, braving the cold, and spots a figure in the distance. She hurries over, telling the person to wait, but not come any closer. Dajung takes a deep breath, confessing that she's thought a lot about telling him something. She admits she's always tried to be a better person and asks if he'll go out with her. She's mortified, wishing she'd mustered up more courage before approaching him. The person responds, saying it's unexpected, but Dajung's heart sinks as she realizes the voice isn't Hyunwoo's. Instead, it's Mr. Ji, who's standing in front of her, smiling. He agrees to go out with her and suggests making their relationship official. Dajung's shocked, unsure what just happened. She's stunned by Mr. G's sudden interest and can't help but wonder what he's thinking. Is this really happening? Dajung is stunned, wondering if Mr. G really just agreed to go out with her. She asks herself if she's hearing things or if the alcohol is playing tricks on her. She thinks maybe she misheard or maybe Mr. G didn't really mean it. Mr. G confirms, saying she's the one who asked him out, and Dajung's inner voices start chiming in. One personality reminds her that she originally wanted to confess to Hyunwoo, Another asks if Mr. G says yes to anyone who asks him out. A third personality mentions a terrifying rumor about Mr. G's past rejection of a coworker, G1 from sales. Dajung tries to call Mr. G, intending to tell him that her confession was a mistake. She thinks to herself that she needs to tell him the truth, that she didn't mean to confess to him. However, before she can explain, Mr. G receives a call and steps away to answer it. Dajung wonders if the caller might be someone from work, and if Mr. G is going to answer the call in front of her. As Mr. G walks out, Dajung thinks to herself that this is getting more and more complicated. Hyunwoo appears, congratulating Dajung and Mr. G on their apparent relationship. He jokes that it's great to see another office couple, and they look perfect together. Dajung is at the office, trying to calm her nerves as she prepares to talk to Mr. G. She thinks to herself that she needs to set things straight before she's in too deep. She's about to knock on Mr. G's door when he opens it and asks what she's doing there. Dajung says hello, and Mr. G invites her in, saying he has something to discuss with her. She wonders what that could be. As she enters the office, Dajung can't help but notice how perfect Mr. G looks, like he just stepped out of a magazine. She thinks to herself that someone like that agreeing to go out with her is just unbelievable. Her mind flashes back to Hyunwoo asking if she's going home early, and she recalls how obsessed she was with him. But now, she's starting to realize that Mr. G is in a league of his own. Mr. G asks Dajung about her research on Hong Kong's hospitality industry, and she replies that she's still working on it. He asks when she expects the report to be ready, and she says next week, Monday. Mr. G suggests using last year's proposal for Shanghai's Conlab Resort as a reference. Dajung thinks to herself that she should look for that proposal, but wonders if that's all Mr. G wanted to discuss. Then Mr. G asks if she has plans for tonight, and Dajung says she's free. Mr. G smiles, saying they should have dinner together. Dajung's mind is racing, trying to process what's happening. She thinks to herself that this is moving too fast, but at the same time, she's curious about where things might go with Mr. G. Dajung asks Mr. G if it's just going to be the two of them at dinner, and he replies that there's no need to bring anyone else. She's taken aback, wondering how they're suddenly going on a date when they've barely even had small talk before. Mr. G mentions that it's their first date, and Dajung's mind is racing. She tries to explain that she needs to tell him something about the previous night. Asks him to pretend that her confession never happened. Her subconscious is screaming at her to just spit it out already. She confesses that she was drunk and mistook him for someone else in the dark park, launches into a bizarre explanation about night blindness and vitamin A deficiency, rambling on about the importance of eating vegetables and fruits. Dajung's inner monologue is a mess, wondering what she's supposed to say next. Mr. G interrupts her, asking what if he doesn't want to pretend that the confession never happened. Dajung's heart sinks as she realizes she's not sure what to say to that. She thinks to herself that she's made a mess of things, and now she's not sure how to fix it. Mr. G's expression is unreadable, and Dajung can't help but wonder what he's thinking. Is he angry with her, or just confused? Dajung asks Mr. G what he means, and he confirms that he wants to go out with her, without even a hint of hesitation. She's taken aback, wondering what's going through his mind. She presses him for the truth, asking what he was thinking when he accepted her confession. Mr. G explains that the manager has been trying to set him up with his daughter, and he's been declining, but the manager won't take no for an answer. Dajung thinks to herself that it's not surprising, given that Mr. G is the perfect catch. He's always been kind and considerate, and now she's starting to realize that he's also been dealing with the pressure of being a desirable bachelor. He continues, saying that he couldn't tell the manager he's seeing someone when he's not, and that's when Dajung confessed to him. She realizes that Mr. G accepted her confession because he needed someone to shield him from the advances of the manager's daughter and others. She thinks to herself that it didn't matter to him who confessed, as long as it was someone. Dajung tells Mr. G that she understands what he's going through, but she can't be in a relationship under such circumstances. She thinks to herself that it's not fair to her, and that she deserves better than to be used as a shield. Just as she's about to suggest pretending it never happened again, Mr. G cuts her off, asking if it's because of Mr. Seo. Dajung's heart skips a beat as she wonders how he knew and what he's thinking. Dajung's eyes widen as Mr. G reveals he knows she mistook him for someone else, specifically Mr. So Hyunwoo. She thinks to herself that she's been caught red-handed. Mr. G explains that it wasn't hard to figure out given their team's demographics and Hyunwoo's similar physique and clothing. He rises from his seat, his eyes locked on Dajung's, and asks if she still feels the same way about Hyunwoo. Dajung's mind flashes back to Hyunwoo's words from the previous night, and she thinks to herself that if he had any feelings for her, he wouldn't have been so cheerful and supportive of her supposed relationship with Mr. G. Just then, Dohun drops a bombshell, announcing that he'll be leaving for Australia in 8 months due to a job offer. Dajung's surprised, and Dohun explains that it's a great opportunity he couldn't pass up. He then turns to Dajung and asks if she'd consider him as a potential partner, given the low chances of Hyunwoo accepting her confession. He offers her a deal, promising to give her anything she wants in return for her consideration. Dajung's taken aback, but she quickly composes herself and exits the room, thinking to herself that she's successfully taken back her confession. As she walks out, she's greeted by her coworkers, and she can't help but feel a sense of relief wash over her. The conversation went smoother than she expected, and she's grateful to have dodged a potentially awkward situation. Dajung recalls Dohun's words of wisdom, suggesting they pretend nothing happened, just like she wanted. She thinks to herself that she's grateful the awkwardness is behind her, and Mr. G doesn't seem like the type to hold grudges. With that drama settled, Dajung's mind shifts back to Hyunwoo, the one she's really interested in. She asks a colleague if she knows where Hyunwoo is, and learns he's supposedly in the supply room. Dajung thinks to herself that she needs to be honest with Hyunwoo about what happened the night before. Maybe, just maybe, he'll surprise her and reveal he has feelings for her too. She takes a deep breath, preparing herself for the conversation, and heads to the supply room. As she approaches, she calls out, asking if that's Hyunwoo, and her heart sinks as she sees him locking lips with another woman. Dajung's eyes widen as she realizes the woman kissing Hyunwoo is none other than Se-ah, her university acquaintance and co-worker. She asks herself why Se-ah is with Hyunwoo, feeling a pang of betrayal. Dajung recalls a past conversation with Se-ah, where she asked if Dajung was in love with Hyunwoo. Se-ah had reassured her that Hyunwoo would definitely like her, even offering to support Dajung in her pursuit of him. Dajung thinks to herself that Se-ah's words were nothing but a lie, and now she's stabbing her in the back. Se-ah catches Dajung's eye and quickly excuses herself, leaving Hyunwoo wondering who Dajung was looking at. Dajung tries to brush it off, telling Hyunwoo not to be distracted. Just then, their boss approaches, reminding Dajung that it's meeting time and she needs to arrange the files. Dohun announces that everyone has arrived and they should start the meeting. As the meeting begins, Dajung can't help but steal glances at Hyunwoo and Se-ah, her mind racing with thoughts of betrayal and heartache. Our female lead's mind starts to wander, wondering how long Hyunwoo and Se-ah have been together, but she quickly snaps back to reality, remembering her own excitement about confessing to Hyunwoo. She thinks to herself that it's not like she's been pining for him for years or anything, but still, she can't help but feel a little hurt. Dohun interrupts her daydreaming, asking her to confirm the delivery date, and she replies that the goods will arrive on April 10th. However, Dohun is not satisfied with the date and asks her to arrange for an earlier delivery. As she apologizes and promises to take care of it, she can't help but think that she's the only one who's been foolish, and that Hyunwoo seems rather cold towards her. She recalls their previous encounter, where he asked her out, but her mind is a jumble of emotions. She wonders if she misread the situation entirely. Dohun calls the meeting back to order, and the female lead notices Se-ah staring at her, feeling like a thorn in her side. As the meeting comes to a close, the female lead receives a text asking her to give someone some time after the meeting. Se-ah approaches her, apologizing for her actions, explaining that she initially wanted the female lead and Hyunwoo to be together, but things took a complicated turn when Hyunwoo confessed to her. Despite rejecting him, Seo found herself drawn to Hyunwoo, and now she's torn between her feelings and her loyalty to the female lead. The female lead listens, trying to process her emotions, feeling a mix of surprise, hurt, and confusion. Dajung asks Seo since when she and Hyunwoo have been together, and Seo reveals it's been since last winter. Dajung thinks to herself that she's been oblivious to their relationship for an entire year, and on top of that, she confided in Seo about her own feelings for Hyunwoo. Seo apologizes profusely, but Dajung is hurt, feeling that Seo should have been honest with her from the start. She tells Seo that if they decide to date, she should have at least informed her instead of keeping her in the dark. Dajung is torn between her loyalty to Seo and her own feelings of betrayal. Seo tries to explain herself, but Dajung isn't having it, saying that her excuses are just that, excuses. She tells Seo that she doesn't want to hear any more and that she's lost the confidence to face her like before. The tension between them is palpable as Seo tries to appeal to their past friendship, but Dajung is resolute, saying she doesn't want to talk to Seo outside of work anymore. Seo calls Dajung sister, but Dajung corrects her, saying she's not her sister anymore. Dajung thinks to herself that she's had enough drama for one day and considers playing hooky, but then remembers she turned down Dohun's offer and doesn't want to rock the boat. She starts sending a text to Dohun, but then remembers that she rejected him. She thinks to herself that it's better to lay low for a while. She sees Seo crying and feels a pang of guilt, but tells herself to forget about Seo and focus on her own problems. She asks herself what she should have done in that situation. Should she have played it cool and congratulated Seo instead? After all, they're colleagues. Maybe it would have been better not to make a scene, but she just couldn't do it. She really cares for Seo with all her heart, just as much as she liked Hyunwoo. That's what she thought, but now she's not so sure. As she walks away, she overhears someone criticizing her for being cold-hearted towards Seo. Dajung wonders what's going on now, and the lady continues to badmouth Dajung, saying she's being unfair to Seo. The lady asks Seo how Dajung could turn down her sincere apology, and Seo tries to defend Dajung, saying she understands the pain she's going through. The lady doesn't seem to care, saying that just because Dajung liked Hyunwoo first, it doesn't mean Seo can't like him now. The female lead thinks to herself that her crush on Hyunwoo was a deeply personal secret, shared only with Seo, and it's painful to see it become casual gossip. She recalls how Seo would often tease her about her feelings, but now it feels like a betrayal. Dajung walks into the room, asking Seo what she's doing, and Seo tries to downplay the conversation. However, the female lead cuts her off, her emotions boiling over as she asks if Seo enjoys toying with her feelings. Seo tries to defend herself, but the female lead is having none of it, pointing out that Seo tricked her for 2 years and is now broadcasting her secret to everyone. Miss Yoon intervenes, saying she didn't mean to stir up trouble, but the female lead is beyond consolation. She explains that Seo seemed upset, so she encouraged her to share what was going on, and from what she hears, Seo's been going through a lot too. Ms. Yoon reveals that Seo was even thinking of breaking up with Hyunwoo out of guilt, and she gets why the female lead is upset, but wonders if a man is really worth all the drama. Dajung tries to explain, but Seo interrupts, offering to break up with Hyunwoo if that's what the female lead really wants. Seo says she doesn't want to lose the female lead over a petty romance. Dajung sees Dohun approaching and thinks to herself that it's time to play a new game. The female lead asks Seo why she should break up with Hyunwoo, saying she doesn't even care about him anymore. She tells Seo to just keep her out of her messy love life, saying she's someone too. Seo asks the female lead if she's really over Hyunwoo, pointing out that she told her she still had feelings for him. Seo walks closer, her voice low and urgent, saying she knows the female lead is angry, but she shouldn't overcompensate by lying about her feelings. The female lead is skeptical of Seo's words, and Seo can't blame her. Meanwhile, Dohun declines a coffee offer from a colleague. Dajung boasts that the man she's seeing now is way better than Seo Hyunwoo, leaving Seo wondering who this mystery man could be. The female lead is confident that she'll prove her point to Seo. Dajung approaches Dohun and reveals that she has time for dinner tonight. A sudden change of heart that raises Dohun's eyebrows. He asks what made her change her mind, and she explains that she canceled her plans for a date with him. Dohun is thrilled and they make plans to meet up after work. Dajung is relieved that her plan worked, and Dohun suggests that everyone get back to their desks. Seo is stunned, wondering if Dajung and Dohun are really going on a date. She can't believe that Dajung would be seeing Mr. Ji, a man she thought was off limits. As the workday comes to a close, Dohun emerges from his office, praising everyone for their hard work. Thank him, and Dohun walks up to Dajung saying it's time for their date, asking if she still has a lot to do. She says, no, let her take the envelope, and returns it to the reference room. He says he'll do it. She says she can do it. He says, I must be starving since she didn't have anything for lunch. She asks herself how he knows that she didn't eat lunch. She stands up and tells everyone to have a good evening. Everyone is surprised that they're for real. One of them asks if he saw him worrying about her not having lunch. Was that kind and caring man the same Mr. Ji that she knows? One of them asks how Dajung ended up with Prince Charming. Another replies that she's got game. Seo says she doesn't believe it. How did she get Mr. Ji of all people? Dohun leads the way. And the female lead can't help but notice the luxurious surroundings, thinking to herself that she could never afford such opulence on her salary. She compliments Dohun's car, and he explains that it's a company perk, along with housing. The female lead is impressed, realizing that Dohun's contributions to the company must be substantial. She can't help but think that he's the epitome of perfection. A young team leader at a major conglomerate with a house and a car. As he opens the car door for her, she asks if they're really going to do this, and he assures her they are, saying, of course, did she think he was joking? She thinks to herself that even though they're faking it, they still need to make it look like they're for real. There's so much to discuss with him. Maybe they could talk about how they're going to go about this. She asks herself, what's that cologne? It smells nice. He asks her what she likes. She asks what? He says he means for dinner. She says she's not too picky. He asks if she likes sushi. She says yes, she can't live without it. She thinks to herself that she sounded a bit too desperate. He says there's a place called Songhak nearby and says they should go there. She asks what? She thinks to herself that she knows the place. It's a super famous high-end Japanese restaurant. No, it would hurt to have to pay for it, but she wouldn't feel right having him pay either. She's torn between not wanting to pay for it herself and not feeling right about letting Dohun foot the bill. She suggests they skip sushi for now and go to a restaurant she frequents instead, a cozy little place famous in her neighborhood. Dohun agrees, asking her to show him the way. As they stand in front of the restaurant, he wonders what makes this place so famous. She invites him in, and he asks if she's a regular there. She confirms, sharing that she used to come here with her family often, raving about the insanely good food and extensive menu. He teases about the menu being too big, but she promises he won't be disappointed. As she gets up to order, she tells him to take his time. Dohun is surprised by the unusual menu options, wondering if gizzards and chicken feet are even edible. She stands up to get them some water, telling him to take his time. He says okay. Dajung greets Aunt Sunja, who asks if she came with her sisters. Dajung explains she's with someone else today, and Aunt Sunja's eyes light up, asking if she means the handsome young man. Dajung clarifies that he's just her superior from work, but Aunt Sunja is disappointed, saying what a shame, he's so attractive. Aunt Sunja jokes that she thought her mother's dreams had finally come true. Later, Dajung says she'll make all the food she wants tonight. She just needs to focus on drinking. The female lead asks what. She says she knows how it goes. One moment they're colleagues, then after a few shots they could end up as husband and wife. The female lead calls her name and says it's not like that. Says nothing beats this. Dohun asks if she's planning to drink all the soju they have. He holds her hand and tells her it's enough for today. She begs him to let her drink as much as she wants, just for today. He says okay, but she should drink slowly. She says okay. She drinks it slowly. He asks if that's what he meant. She starts laughing. He asks what's so funny. She says it's nothing, just the fact that he's scolding her right now. He says okay, but that's enough for her and warns her not to get drunk like that with other people. She says okay. She asks if he doesn't know why. He asks why what? She says why she suddenly changed her mind about all this. He says he figured something had happened to her, but what matters to him is the end result, not the reason behind it. She thinks to herself that she still doesn't know if he's been considerate or just logical, but at least she knows he's not the one telling people the truth about this. He reassures her that if talking about it makes her uncomfortable, she doesn't have to discuss it. She reveals that she was furious, feeling betrayed by her friends treating her like a fool behind her back. She wanted to prove to them that she's not someone to be taken lightly, capable of dating a decent man. She desires a relationship that's like something out of a movie, with him as the leading man. She reminds him that he also needed a girlfriend to quiet the rumors, and asks if his proposal from that morning is still valid. She suggests they become an official couple starting today. She breaks down in tears, apologizing and saying she doesn't know what's gotten into her. She hates people who cry when they're drunk, but she's been holding it in all day. Since seeing Hyunwoo and Seo together, she's wanted to cry but didn't want to seem pitiful. Her tears overflow, and she confesses that her feelings for Hyunwoo were genuine, and she really leaned on Seo for support. Dohun comforts her, saying he doesn't judge people who cry when they're drunk, and she should let it all out. His gentle voice is like a soothing magic spell. She thanks him. He takes her home, asking if that's her house, and she says yes, her grandfather designed it. He admires the architecture, noting it's a lightweight wood frame house with a brick finish, looking cozy. She agrees, saying it is cozy, and shares that it looks large from the outside, but it's just right for her big family. He comments that her home sounds lively, and she jokes about fighting with her sisters, saying they're all dreaming of the day one of them moves out. He praises her home, saying it's lovely for a loving family. She thinks to herself that she never knew he had a sensitive side, seeing a lot of unexpected things today. She thanks him for taking her home and apologizes for probably making this the worst date he's ever been on. She tells him to forget about her crying at the restaurant, but he jokes that forgetting something that lasted over an hour would be quite hard, saying he's never seen a grown woman cry like that. She thinks to herself that she's so embarrassed, wondering why she cried for so long. She offers to return his handkerchief after washing it, and he heads home, reminding her they have work tomorrow. She tells him to go home, and they'll see each other tomorrow. He calls her back, reaffirming his commitment to their fake relationship, saying he always gives his all to everything he does, and this is no exception. He promises to be the perfect partner for her, just like she wants. She agrees, and he asks for a favor, to stay committed to their charade for at least 8 months to avoid unnecessary conflicts. She agrees, and he jokingly says that's a good excuse for when they eventually break up, citing his upcoming trip to Australia. He adds one more thing. As long as she's his girlfriend, she's not allowed to cry again. Dajung tells them to hold the elevator for her as she runs in. She thanks them. She thinks to herself that she wasn't late. She almost broke her record of never being late for work. She was always very early and so relaxed. Although that's what happened before the team leader came, she didn't know why he came so early every time. He's the one who is always the earliest for work since he joined the company. She reaches the 15th floor. She thinks to herself that she has to go to work. She says hello to everyone. One of them asks what happened. Is she really dating the leader? Dajung says yes. They both congratulate her. One of them asks how long they've been dating. Another one says her ability was great. How did she have a date? She should say something. They've been waiting for her since. She says it was the usual. It must have been nice. Miss Yoon says she wants to drink with the leader when it's just the two of them too. One of them reminds her that she's married. She replies that she has to prepare for her living right. Can't she hope to have a drink together? Chun-hee says so. Dajung drank with the leader. They must be a reason why she's late today, right? She replies that it's not like that. The female lead says she'll go back to her seat. She hasn't said anything to the leader. One of her coworkers mentions that the leader has gone to see the deputy director, and Dajung asks if that's true. She thinks to herself that if he were around, everyone wouldn't be making so much noise. Just then, he opens his door, greets her, and walks back in, closing the door behind him. Her colleagues tease her, saying he must not have seen them, and that he uses a different tone when greeting them. During break, Dajung's eating when one of her colleagues calls her over. She thinks to herself that she knew they'd come as expected. They start asking her questions about her supposed relationship with the leader, like where they go on dates and if he's really rich. Dajung tries to brush them off, saying she has a lot of work to do and excuses herself. Her colleagues ask her to stay, suggesting they grab a drink at a cafe later, but Dajung declines, thinking to herself that it's exhausting being in the spotlight. She walks over to the vending machine, presses the button, but nothing comes out. Hyunwoo walks up to her, teasing her that the machine won't work if she just tells it once, and offers to help. He gives her the soda, and as she turns to leave, he congratulates her on dating the leader. He jokes that he thought about having a secret relationship too, but was surprised she publicized it. She thinks to herself that Hyunwoo is treating her as usual, which she likes, but she's also aware of his relationship with Se-ah and wonders why he's pretending not to know anything. She's curious about Se-ah's intentions, especially after seeing her propose to manager Yoon so easily. He says when he saw Dajung confessing with the leader, he didn't expect that because she doesn't seem to care about others. He was shocked. She asks why he was shocked. He says that Dohun walks in. Dohun walks in and says there she is. She asks if he's been looking for her. He says yes, he has some urgent issues to discuss with her. She asks herself why does she feel like she was caught cheating. He says he's sorry to interrupt, but if it's not too important, he'll need her to come with him. Hyunwoo asks if it really matters if what he was saying was important or not. Also, he's curious about what these urgent issues are. She asks Dohun which issues he's talking about. If he feels uncomfortable there, shall they go to his office? He tells her to follow him. She asks herself if she did something wrong. She asks him what he wants to talk about. He asks how her research on the Hong Kong resort is going. She says she's almost done. She just needs to work on the budget proposal. He asks when does he think the report will be ready. She says she'll turn it in by Monday morning. He says okay then. She thinks to herself that it was already discussed at the last meeting. Is that really all he had to ask? He asks what's with the can of Coke. He thought she didn't like soft drinks. She says she just needed something refreshing. He asks if she's feeling unwell, and she attributes her discomfort to eating too fast, saying she's all right now. He advises her to check if her condition worsens and expresses concern for her well-being. She thanks him, and he shares that he's going on a business trip to visit their factories in another city, returning tomorrow but tied up in meetings for the rest of the day. Dajung wonders why he's sharing his schedule with her. She wishes him a safe trip and success with his busy schedule, and he thanks her. As she prepares to leave, he tells her to go ahead. She thinks to herself that the conversation was awkward, wondering how he knew she didn't like soft drinks. He reflects on the need to keep calm, reminding himself that they have 8 months left to maintain their charade. Hyunwoo calls Se-ah, expressing his confusion about her story, which he finds inconsistent. Se-ah accuses him of trying to take advantage of the situation, and the conversation ends abruptly. Hyunwoo tries calling her again, saying he thought he knew her better, but now he's unsure what to believe. He says he used to think that he knew her better than anyone else, but he didn't have a clue. He doesn't know which part of her story to believe in anymore. She walks past him and goes to ask the colleagues if they enjoyed lunch. Hyunwoo asks himself what happened to the Se-ah he used to know. In the office, a lady asks Dajung what she plans to do after work, and Dajung replies that she doesn't have any meetings, so she'll head home. The female lead asks herself what's wrong, noting that she's never asked Dajung like this before. The lady asks Dajung if she won't be going out with the leader on Friday, and Dajung replies yes. The lady then invites Dajung to eat pasta and go shopping with her. Dajung thinks to herself that it's no surprise given the constant questions she's faced all day. She blames the leader for her situation, dreading the prospect of socializing with her coworkers and facing more questions. The female lead intervenes, citing an important business matter, and the lady leaves. Dajung thinks to herself that the leader hasn't come back yet and it's almost time to get off work. She wonders if he's tired from work, considering his mood yesterday. She starts typing a message but deletes it, reminding herself she's not his real girlfriend. Her phone vibrates and she receives a text from Se-ah asking to talk to her after work. Dajung asks herself why everyone wants to see her after work and replies that she doesn't have anything to say to Se-ah. She thinks to herself that she's sure Se-ah will make brazen-faced excuses, even though she doesn't feel any better. Her phone vibrates again, and she tells herself to ignore it. She focuses on finishing the report about the resort in Hong Kong, confirming its importance since the leader reviewed it twice. With everyone gone, Dajung prepares to head home. Dajung steps into the elevator and finds Hyunwoo inside. He asks if she's just getting off work, suggesting she should come in. She catches a whiff of tobacco and thinks to herself that he must have smoked on the rooftop, a habit she's familiar with from her 2 years of liking him. Noticing his less-than-stellar expression, she wonders if he argued with Se-ah, but tells herself not to get involved. Hyunwoo asks Dajung what she likes about Dohun, his tone sounding sarcastic to her ears. She responds, saying the leader is excellent, and Hyunwoo comments that she seems to like good-looking people, adding that no one has ever called Dohun ugly. He gestures for her to exit the elevator first, following closely behind. Dajung wonders what he's implying. As they step outside, she realizes it's raining and she forgot her umbrella, thinking she'll get soaked. Hyunwoo offers his umbrella and asks if she takes the bus, offering to walk her to the bus station. Dajung declines, saying the rain isn't heavy and she can just make a run for it. Hyunwoo takes her hand, telling her to go with him, worrying that she might catch a cold. Dajung thinks to herself that Hyunwoo is always friendly and considerate, but now his actions feel different. Just then, Dohun appears, telling Hyunwoo to take his hands off Dajung. Dajung asks Dohun what's going on, and he says he's there to pick her up. She mentions that everyone is watching, and Dohun replies that he wants them to see. Dohun says they should let them watch, opening the car door for Dajung. As she gets in, she sees Hyunwoo standing outside. Dohun explains that he came to take her home because it started raining, not wanting to let his girlfriend walk in the bad weather. Dajung thinks to herself that she never knew he cared about what others thought of him. He asks if she was headed home, and she confirms. She thinks to herself that he seems to like classical music, noticing the type of music playing in the car. Dohun invites her to dinner at the Japanese restaurant they discussed earlier. Dajung asks herself, "Dinner again?" She asks him if he means songhak, knowing it's pricey, and he says she knows she won't have to spend a penny, so she shouldn't worry. Dajung thinks to herself that even if she's not paying for it, receiving such an expensive meal is still burdensome. He says he's just always wanted to try it. He's been wanting to go for quite a while, but he couldn't go by himself, so he should please accompany him. She asks herself how she can say no to that face. But why her? Is it because he barely knows anyone in Korea, and who he goes with probably doesn't matter much to him? She finally says okay. At the restaurant, Dajung enjoys the food and atmosphere, thinking to herself that the place is awesome and the food is so tasty too. She looks at him and says he's barely touched his food. Didn't he say he wanted to come there? He says she shouldn't worry, he's enjoying himself. She says she thinks she's eating everything, and he asks if she likes it, to which she responds positively, now understanding why the restaurant is so expensive. She wonders if her comment sounded too snobbish. He offers to take her to try other dishes, and she asks if it's with him, to which he responds by asking if she doesn't enjoy his company. She thinks to herself that they're acting like lovers even outside the office. She thanks him for the meal, and he says he's glad she enjoyed it. The manager walks in, excited to see Dohun outside the office, and comments on the restaurant's decent food. Dajung feels like she's become invisible, as the manager doesn't seem to notice her. The manager asks Dohun if he has time this weekend, after his daughter found out he existed, She's been begging, a meal, coffee, a date with him. Dajung thinks to herself that Dohun must feel so uncomfortable. The male lead says he's sort, but he's afraid he won't be able to go on that date with his daughter. The manager asks if it's because it's his daughter. She shouldn't be shy. The male lead says it's not because of him, but because of his girlfriend. The manager asks what. He repeats himself. The manager says that was quick, but then again, he knew girls would be lining up for him. It turns out that their manager hasn't heard the news yet. The manager asks who the lucky girl is. She must be much prettier and more talented than his daughter. Dohun says she is pretty and talented. The manager says he's not sure who she is, but she just won the lottery, as far as he's concerned. Then he looks at Dajung and says he didn't see her there. She says she's been standing there all along. The manager apologizes and says he's a bit drunk now. Who did she come here with? She replies and says Mr. G. The manager asks if it's just both of them. She says yes. He says wait. She cuts him off and says she's the lottery winner he mentioned just now. Dohun tells him to enjoy his evening and they leave. Dajung asks if he saw the manager's face. He asks how could anyone miss it. She wishes she had taken a photo of the manager's confused expression, finding it hilarious. Dohun asks if it's really that funny, and she says yes, feeling a little sorry for the manager. She's still in shock about being Dohun's girlfriend. He asks what's so shocking about that. She says, to be honest, they really don't go well together. Does he think even though her teammates haven't said anything, she knows deep inside they think that she doesn't deserve him? He asks if she knows why he asked her to play his girlfriend in the first place. She asks if it isn't because she confessed to him first. He says she's wrong. She asks him the reason. He says it's just that it had to be her. Dajung's mind goes blank as she's lost in thought, the sound of her heartbeat all she can hear. At a moment like this, she wouldn't mind being kissed, but her phone starts ringing, breaking the spell. It's Sojung, asking where she is and reminding her it's buy 2 get 1 free day at Hoshok's Fried Chicken. Dajung remembers and Sojung tells her they ordered 20 minutes ago and she should hurry back home. Dajung thinks to herself that she's had enough and considers moving out to get away from her family. She tells Dohun she needs to leave, citing her family's request, and he asks if there's an emergency. She downplays the situation, and he teases her about the urgency of fried chicken. Dajung returns home to find her family waiting, and her sister Ajung scolds her for coming home late, warning her about the dangers of being kidnapped. Sojung defends Dajung, saying she's strong enough to fight off any attackers. Their grandmother, Jang Gil-soon, comments on Dajung's outfit, worrying she'll catch pneumonia. Dajung responds, saying she's not naked, and Park Bong-hae chimes in, agreeing she should dress warmly. Dajung declines the fried chicken, saying she already had dinner, and Sojung asks who she had sushi with. Dajung avoids answering, saying it was just a friend, and Sojung teases her about her attitude. Dajung heads to her room, recalling Dohun's words and wondering what he meant by saying it had to be her. She questions why he chose her, considering they've only worked together for a year and there's nothing special between them. Her different personalities offer various interpretations, ranging from him taking advantage of her vulnerability to having a crush on her. Dajung tells herself to stop being crazy, acknowledging she's not exceptional in any way. She looks outside, noticing the rain. And after a week of dating Dohun, a lady approaches her, asking if she went on a date with Mr. G yesterday. He now understands why people keep office romances a secret, as she's already tired of the gossip. A colleague asks how long she's been dating Dohun, and she replies that it's been less than a month. The colleague teases her, saying they're in the puppy love stage, and Dajung plays along. Another colleague comments on Dohun's changed behavior, saying he seems nicer, and even smiles more often. Dajung agrees, and the conversation turns to the power of love. One colleague asks a provocative question, inquiring about the level of intimacy between Dajung and Dohun. Dajung is taken aback, spitting out her drink in surprise. A colleague hands her a napkin. The lady who asked the question apologizes for being too personal. Dajung asks herself what kind of question that was. The lady apologizes again, and another colleague chimes in, saying that young people these days don't count bases, and they're both adults who know what they want. Dajung confirms that they're not even holding hands. Miss Yoon shares her own insights, saying that a man of Dohun's age wouldn't be shy and advises Dajung to enjoy it while it lasts. She jokingly says she's jealous, knowing Dohun has a nice physique, mentioning she would know better than any of them. Dajung thinks to herself that she doesn't like the topic at all. The lady tells her to spill the beans, asking if she remembers the company track meet last year. She should have seen Dohun run around with that tight shirt on. Another lady says that's why they're all looking forward to this year's track meet. The third lady says she wishes he didn't have to hide all the goodness under a suit all the time. Ms. Yoon says he's actually a good sportsman. He won every match that day. The other lady agrees, saying, "That's right." That was how the planning team won the tournament. Dajung thinks to herself that she was too busy watching Hyunwoo at the company track meet to notice Dohun. The lady continues, saying Dohun's physique and stamina are impressive, meaning he's not just well-built, but also has great endurance, implying he never gets tired. The group teases Dajung, asking her to spill the details about Dohun, and Ms. Yoon asks what she's being shy about. Dajung thinks to herself, wondering if Dohun might be the type to like being dominated, but quickly pushes the thought away. Just then, Dohun walks in, and Dajung calls out to him. He asks if that's how she greets her boyfriend, and she asks when he arrived. He says he just got there and hands her a selection of cakes. The ladies at the table swoon, saying they're jealous of Dajung. Dohun says that's not all he has for her. He wasn't sure of what she liked, so he ordered a little bit of everything. Hopefully she'll enjoy at least one of them. He asks if he can borrow her now, and the ladies jokingly tell him to take her as long as he wants. As they leave, Dajung asks how he knew she was at the cafe, and he asks what she means. He saw her through the window. She looked like she needed some help, so he stepped in. She thinks to herself that's great. Maybe he didn't hear what they were saying. He asks if he was wrong. She says no. She really wanted to run away. He says next time she wants to run away, she should just give him a call. She thinks to herself that he sure knows how to lift a girl off her feet. She says the cakes he bought, she noticed he only chose the most expensive ones. He asks if there's any issue. It's just cake. She says there are not just any cakes. Each slice is the same price as a hearty meal. He says he doesn't think she'd worry about his finances. She says what she means, that just 2 or 3 would have been enough. She wouldn't want any to go to waste. Dohun teases Dajung, saying he thought women had a separate stomach for desserts. Responds, saying they do, but still, she can't help but think about his physique, imagining the body of a beast beneath his shirt. He asks her what she was discussing with her colleagues, noticing their excited expressions. She denies being excited, and he notices her blushing, guessing they were talking about intimate things. Dajung quickly defends herself, asking how anyone could discuss such things in public. Dohun jokingly says he gets it. Wondering why she's being so defensive, he tells her to go in at the 15th floor. She asks about him. He says he needs to go see the manager first. She says, all right. He calls her back and says he's not sure why people would be curious about it, but if she must know, he's more of the dominant type. He's just saying. She thinks to herself that so he did hear everything. Dajung thinks to herself that he heard everything. What's he going to think of her? A woman who talks about stuff like that at a cafe in broad daylight also, so has dominant. She means he does look like the alpha male type, but he's so gentle to him. She tells herself to get her mind out of the gutter. 6 p.m. going home, she's too embarrassed to meet Mr. G. She'll just make a run for it as soon as she gets to the 1st floor. She'll mix with the crowd, but he sees her. Dohun asks her where she's going. She knows his car is downstairs. One of her colleagues asks if she isn't leaving with him today. She says she's still used to getting off on this floor. She asks him if it isn't troublesome for him to drive her home every day. He says not at all. She says they don't have to prove their relationship to anyone he knows. They don't have to be together every time to be a couple. He says if they see her going home by herself now, the whole team will be throwing wild guesses at them tomorrow. Like he told her before, he's going to give everything he has to make the relationship perfect. So, driving home is not and never will be a hassle for him, so she shouldn't worry about it. She says okay. She says she has something to ask him. He asks what is it. She says actually she has a few questions. Does he have some time? He says not now. He's too hungry to think at the moment. She can't believe she's having dinner with him again. This place is also really expensive. She's definitely going Dutch with him this time. He says she should ask the questions. She says it's about what happened at the cafe today. He asks what she means. Is it the debate with the teammates? He tells her to relax and have a drink of water. She thinks to herself that he's doing it on purpose. He's so cheeky sometimes. Dajung apologizes to Dohun for discussing intimate topics with her colleagues, ensuring him that they didn't mean any harm. Dohun reassures her that he wasn't offended and was actually hoping she'd share more. Dajung wonders why he's smiling. She asks him what he overheard, and he mentions the question about which base they got to, joking that one of her colleagues had a loud voice. Dajung realizes he heard the entire conversation. She expresses her embarrassment, admitting that she barely knows anything about him. Dohun offers to share more about himself, and Dajung takes notes, asking about his age, birth date, and blood type. When she discovers they share the same blood type as her ex-boyfriend, she gulps hard, recalling her ex's ego and bad temper. Dohun notices her reaction and asks what she's trying to say, ensuring she didn't offend him. Dajung apologizes, and Dohun lightheartedly says it's an unfair generalization to assume all Type B individuals are like her ex-boyfriend. He tells her to move on from her ex-boyfriend, and Dajung agrees. She asks herself if asking for his address should sound too formal. She asks him where he lives, and he says in Nonhyun-dong. She asks if he lives by himself with his parents or friends. He says his parents are in Australia. Dajung hesitates to ask about the size of his house, citing rumors about his wealth and her colleagues' curiosity. She explains that they all think she's been to his house already, but it's too personal. Dohun offers a sly solution, saying it's better if she came and saw it for herself, asking if she's free that weekend. He invites her to come and see his house, and Dajung is taken aback by the invitation. In the next part of the story, we're introduced to our female lead, who is thinking silently in her head. Our girl reflects on a name that crosses her mind, must I? Meanwhile, our guy, who stands nearby, breaks the silence and says something that makes her pause. He mentions that doing all of this and still getting asked the same type of questions is tiring, then adds that it would simply be easier if she came to see his house. He says this with a smile, and as she looks at him, we get to see her thoughts again. She tells herself that his face looks too pure, and because of that, it would feel strange if she said no. So she agrees, saying he's right, and tells him she'll check her schedule. However, just when we think she's made up her mind, different thoughts pop up in her head. One side of her is already planning to use an excuse after checking the schedule. Another part of her reminds her that she's not even famous, so it's not like her schedule is packed. Then another thought hits her. If she refuses, she might feel embarrassed. But just as she's thinking all of that, our guy speaks again and suggests that she could check it now. That surprises her, and she asks, now? He reminds her that if the schedule was that important, she would have taken notes. That moment is when we know she's cornered. She thinks to herself that she's completely trapped and remembers how after her friends got married, they'd always say things like, let's go out, but never follow through. Still caught in that thought, she agrees and says okay. She then remembers that her weekend plan only includes spending time with her sisters, so she opens her book and flips through the pages. She checks carefully, thinking there might be something, but there's nothing. She tells our guy that she doesn't have any important meetings, and he responds with excitement, saying they should meet on Saturday. This catches her off guard, and she asks what time. He throws the question back at her, saying he doesn't care if it's day or night. Then, as if trying to be funny, he smirks and admits that he's weak during the day, but stronger at night. That gets her thinking deeply, especially because she finds herself reacting strangely. Our guy places a hand on her head while she wonders why that line reminds her of something. She then answers that daytime would be better, and suggests they meet at 4 p.m. Right after saying that, she changes her mind and says 3 p.m. is better. He agrees to the new time. But it doesn't stop there. As he drinks his water, she begins to overthink again. She wonders if meeting at 4 would mean staying for dinner. She worries that visiting his house and sharing a meal might be too serious, and tells herself to stay calm. Just then, he interrupts her thoughts by asking if she takes notes. She replies with confusion, and he reminds her that she just mentioned an important meeting. We're shocked to see her blush at that moment. She thinks to herself that anyone would react the same way, especially when he keeps smiling with that face. She then writes in her schedule book that she's visiting his house. In the next scene, they're both outside together. She tells him she's fine and he doesn't need to take her home. He points out that it's already late and dark. She tries to convince him by saying she has always walked that part alone and nothing's ever happened. But he argues that just because it hasn't happened yet doesn't mean it never will. He walks ahead, leaving her behind for a moment, and says that if something were to happen, he wouldn't be able to help her. He insists on going with her. Curious, she asks why he wouldn't be able to help. He gives a strange answer, saying that even if the person behind it was known, not even the police or CSI could catch him. At this point, we see her remembering someone, Liam Neeson. Then a strange thought pops up in her mind as she wonders what exactly he's trying to say. After that, she warns him not to say such things to his real girlfriend. He doesn't understand and asks why. She explains that even if he can't actually do it, he should still say something like, "I'll save you," because that's what a girlfriend would want to hear more. And with that, we're left wondering what will happen next between the two. One thing's for sure, there's more going on behind those small talks and playful teasing. At first, he turns to her and asks if she feels the same. But without much emotion, she calmly says she doesn't like cheesy things. Instead of pushing the topic, he simply tells her it's okay, and they both fall into silence. For a while, the two of them just walk without speaking. During this silence, our girl begins to reflect. She thinks about how she's used to walking alone, yet being beside someone makes the atmosphere feel completely different. It's a simple thought, but one that shows how even silence can feel special when shared. After some time, our guy suddenly breaks the silence. He asks if she wants to say something. She turns her head slightly, and after a small pause, she brings up a question that's been on her mind. She wants to know how he speaks Korean so well, considering he came from Australia. We're curious too, and thankfully, she asks. In response, he explains that he lived in Korea until elementary school. She quickly follows up, trying to connect the pieces. She wonders about his parents and asks when they moved back to Korea. Without much hesitation, he says his dad is busy. This gets her asking about his mom next. Then comes a piece of information we definitely didn't expect. He shares that his mom passed away when he was 10. That changes everything. She stops walking and is clearly shocked. She turns to him with a gentle look and quickly says she's sorry. But just when we think the moment might grow heavy, she opens up about herself too. She says her father also passed away when she was little. Back then, she was too young to understand what it really meant. And for a long time, she kept believing he would come back. Her expression softens, and she puts her hand gently on her neck, admitting that she doesn't know much about him either. So she asks if he's curious about her. Our guy, without missing a beat, says everything is already on the CV. But then he adds that he would still like to know more, things like her hobbies, favorite food, places, flowers, music, colors, and themes. She gives her answer. She says she can eat everything. Then she shares that she prefers quiet places, especially the beach during winter. She doesn't like crowded areas because they're too noisy. Her favorite flower is freesia. She listens to soft music and avoids scary movies, but aside from that, she can watch them all. As for colors, her favorite is a sparkling color, the kind that looks like starlight. Our guy looks a bit confused when he hears that, but she doesn't explain further. Instead, she just says there's a reason behind it, and she'll tell him later. Then he asks a question we didn't see coming. He wants to know about her ideal type. She's caught off guard. At first, she reacts with surprise and asks him to repeat it. Then, while raising one finger, she says she doesn't really have an ideal type. However, she's sure about one thing. She could never like someone who always lies and isn't responsible. Our guy quickly responds, teasing that her ex-boyfriend must have been irresponsible and probably had blood type B. She turns her head and says it's wrong to judge people like that. Not everyone with that blood type is like her ex. Still, he keeps talking about it. She sighs and says he's bringing it up again. Then he tells her it's important. When she asks why, he says it's because he's different from that kind of person. Our girl speaks up, asking why he says that. From a distance, our girl overhears some people talking. They mention how fun it is to go to the sauna together, and one of them comments that she'd cling to it a bit. Our girl shakes her head, convinced that those voices are just in her mind, voices she thinks are her sisters. She quickly turns her head, feeling uneasy, but no one approaches her. Our girl, clearly stressed, places her hands on her head and says her sisters are here. She knows that if they find out, things won't go well. The thought of her family discovering their secret makes her panic. She grabs our guy's hand and urges him to follow her. They both hide, trying to stay out of sight. Our guy, confused, asks why they must hide like this. She responds that if they get caught, it will be bad for them. She starts to wonder, should they meet her sisters, or will they be seen? Just as our guy says there's no other way, he opens his coat, wrapping it around her and pulling her closer to him. They lock eyes, and for a brief moment, she is distracted. She begins remembering what her workmates at the office had said about our guy. One of them had mentioned how strong his abs and biceps are. She quickly thinks to herself that her coworker was right. As our girl's sisters pass by, she holds her breath. Her heart races, and she worries that our guy will hear it. She tries to keep calm, but she can't help herself. As they get closer, she steals a glance at our guy's face, wondering what he's thinking. At that exact moment, her sisters are almost right next to them. She panics, thinking to herself, "Oh no!" Trying to cover her anxiety, she asks him if they've passed. He looks up, checking, and reassures her, saying he doesn't see them anymore. Relieved, she lets out a laugh and smiles. Something must have happened, and our guy, curious, asks if something would happen if they were caught. She responds that if they're found together, at least they would have to get married. Our guy, a bit surprised, repeats the word married. She laughs again, explaining that her family has a lot of members who all care about her getting married. Her grandmother, mother, and 3 sisters all hope for it, but she's been postponing it for a while. She jokes that if they see our guy, he might meet her family. Our guy, still unsure, asks if that's really the case. But she cuts him off, saying it might be better to stay single if she can't afford marriage. Our guy, trying to change her mind, tells her not to say that. She looks at him, confused, and asks, "What?" He responds, saying she could easily get married. She laughs, saying it's impossible since she doesn't even have a boyfriend. Our guy, pointing at himself with a smile, suggests, "Why not? You have one here." She laughs and tells him he's just her fake boyfriend. This makes our guy's face change, his expression turning serious, as if thinking about what this could mean for both of them. He's trying to figure out what went wrong, thinking maybe he didn't act the right way. As they continue walking, she turns to him and says he can go home now. She'll go on her own. He agrees, but she adds that he's probably tired from the walk. She then notices that his shirt is stained and she feels bad about it. She offers to wash it, but our guy, in a calm tone, says it's okay. He even jokes, saying it looks like he has a girlfriend now and she can give him another shirt later. She is taken aback by his words. Why did he say that? She thinks to herself, and he just walks on, not noticing her surprise. Later, we find our girl entering her house. She greets her sister, and they start talking. Her sister seems curious about our girl's work, asking if her company is organizing parties these days. Our girl answers yes, but then gets caught off guard when her sister mentions seeing a couple in the street. Apparently, the couple was hugging under a streetlight. Her sister jokes about how no boyfriend could resist hugging his beautiful girlfriend. Our girl, remembering her own situation with our guy, thinks back to earlier, but she doesn't say anything aloud. Her sister then jokes about how couples shouldn't do that in front of other people's houses, suggesting they find a room. Our girl, flustered, tries to change the subject by asking when she did anything like that. The 2 sisters seem confused as our girl gets defensive. She then notices her ice cream is missing and points it out. Her sister looks at her, asking why she's so upset. Our girl's older sister tries to reassure her, saying they'll always protect her. They continue their conversation, and Sujung jokingly talks about Tilek, our girl needing a wedding dress, as if talking about our girl getting married. Our girl's sister agrees, mentioning how it's better to be happy now rather than wait and risk ending up unhappy. But then, their grandmother, hearing them, shouts at them, annoyed by their chatter. The two sisters apologize, and our girl, eager to avoid the situation, decides to go to bed. She wishes them good night and heads off to her room. Back at Dohun's place, our guy is in his room, unbuttoning his shirt. He reflects on the time with our girl, thinking if she knew what he was really thinking, she might think he's crazy. He walks out, grabs a can of beer, and stares out the window. His mind drifts back to our girl and how he can't forget her. He wonders, as if she were a star shining in the night, if she'll ever understand what's on his mind. But for now, he's left with his thoughts, and just when it seems like he's reaching clarity, the confusion lingers. It's another busy day at the office. One employee is struggling with the printer, her frustration clear as she exclaims in disappointment. Turning to our girl, she asks for help, thinking they might be out of ink. Our girl, who is caught off guard, hesitates for a moment before responding, agreeing to grab a new cartridge from the supply room. As she gets up to leave, she wonders why the employee can't get it herself. But, deciding it's not a big deal, she shrugs it off, thinking, someone's got to take one for the team. After a moment, Dajung stands up and heads towards the supply room. The employee thanks her, saying that our girl is much more familiar with the supplies than she is, placing a hand on her cheek in a gesture of appreciation. Our girl, not thrilled about always being asked, thinks to herself, if you didn't make me go all the time, you would know too. Just as she is about to leave the room, a guy in the office speaks up. He reminds our girl that the pantry is out of instant coffee, asking if she could grab some on her way to the supply room. Dajung, looking at him, can't help but think, if you knew we were out, you'd fill it up yourself. But she doesn't say anything. Instead, she continues thinking, well, I guess he's not called Han the slut for nothing. Sighing, she tells him she'll grab the coffee on her way. With that, our girl heads to the supply room, where she immediately begins her search for the ink cartridge. While scanning the shelves, she spots Hyunwoo and Se-ah in the corner, standing much too close to each other kissing. Our girl is disgusted by what she sees. What do they think this is? Their private space? She thinks. She wants to go over and tell them off, but quickly realizes it's not worth it. Maybe later, she decides, turning to look for the ink cartridge again. As she continues walking away, she overhears Hyunwoo and Se-ah arguing. Hyunwoo, unaware that our girl is nearby, voices his frustration, questioning why Se-ah won't just tell him what's going on. He says she's changed, and he doesn't even know if she's the same Se-ah anymore. Se-ah, clearly upset, snaps back at him, challenging him to admit if he's done anything wrong. She accuses him of not truly loving her for who she is. Our girl, hearing this, feels the tension in the air. I'm not sure what's going on, but it sounds bad, she thinks. She decides it's best to leave before they see her. As our girl is about to leave, Chuni walks by and spots her. Hey, Dajung, she says, making our girl pause. Our girl nervously stutters, trying to play it cool. Chuni then asks if she's coming back from lunch. Our girl, shutting the door to the supply room behind her, tries to cover up, saying she was just getting something from the supplier. Chuni nods and smiles, mentioning how the lunch at the cafeteria was great. Our girl laughs awkwardly, agreeing, though she can't help but think, yeah, it was barely even edible. In the office, Chuni and our girl are sitting on a bench, sipping their coffee. Chuni, noticing how our girl always orders the same drink, comments that she has finally figured out what kind of drinks she likes after working together for 2 years. Our girl, a little amused, explains that it's because she doesn't enjoy soda or coffee. Chuni smiles and asks about our girl's plans for the weekend, mentioning that with the nice weather, she's sure that wherever she and our guy go, it will be fun. Our girl laughs sarcastically, agreeing, but in a way that shows she's not entirely convinced. Chuni continues, saying that the best place to go might be an island where the two of them could get stranded. Our girl laughs again, but this time it's clear she's not taking it seriously. Chuni adds, almost like a piece of advice, that time moves quickly and they should enjoy these moments while they can. Our girl, still unsure, acknowledges this with a quiet, "I guess you're right." Just when things seem calm, the manager walks in. Both Chuni and our girl greet him, but he simply stares at our girl and walks away without a word. Chuni, puzzled, wonders why the manager has been so grumpy lately. Our girl, equally curious, can't understand what's going on. They return to their office, and Dohun enters, greeting everyone and asking if they enjoyed their lunch. Most reply, yes, but Chuni, unable to hide her dissatisfaction, admits that the lunch was so spicy it was barely edible. There's an awkward silence before our guy, smiling, tells them to get some snacks for the pantry and assures them they can use his card. As he says this, the other female employees begin to whisper, thinking that our guy's attitude has changed since he started dating our girl. They think he's no longer the cold, distant boss he used to be. Our guy, still holding his phone, shifts the conversation back to business, suggesting they get started on their afternoon agenda. However, the manager calls his name, making our guy turn and greet him politely. The manager, clearly not in a good mood, comments on our guy's apparent free time and hints that there's no sense of urgency at work. Hyunwoo, not one to stay quiet, chimes in, criticizing our guy's lack of discipline. The manager then adds that this is a workplace, not a cafe, implying that everyone needs to be more focused. Our girl, walking past, realizes that the manager's words are clearly aimed at her, making her feel even more uneasy. The manager then suggests a team-building exercise, a hiking trip. He insists everyone meet in front of the company building at 9 a.m. on Saturday, warning that no one should skip out, especially not for something as trivial as a date. Our girl, already uncomfortable, thinks to herself that the manager is definitely targeting her. But before she can react, our guy quickly steps in and apologizes, explaining that he already has an important appointment that he can't miss that day. In the office, the manager turns to our guy with a stern look, questioning what could be more important than the integrity of the team. Our guy, apologetic but firm, explains that it's a very important appointment he cannot miss. The manager's tone sharpens as he wonders how anyone could consider skipping such an event. But our guy stands his ground, reminding the manager that he has never missed a company event, and had he been informed earlier, he would have rescheduled. He promises that he will be at the next company event. The room falls silent, with our girl watching the exchange. She thinks to herself that no one can change our guy's mind once he's made it up. The manager mutters under his breath, expressing frustration about how our guy's leadership might be the reason for the team's lack of success. Then, he turns to our girl, assuming that she, too, would skip the event. Our girl panics for a moment, realizing that if she attends, she'll never get to see our guy's house. She considers saying no, but fears the manager's wrath. In the end, she reluctantly agrees to attend, hoping to avoid further conflict. Later, our guy stands behind our girl and calls her into his office. Our girl follows, dreading what's to come. As she enters and the door shuts, he leans against his table, looking at her with a serious expression. He asks why she didn't speak up earlier. She responds that she couldn't do that in front of the manager. He suggests it would have been easy to refuse, but our girl counters that the hiking trip was set up to disrupt their plans. He insists that she should have stood her ground to prevent the manager from gaining more control. She raises her head and explains how difficult it is for her. She has to stay in the company after our guy leaves and can't afford to upset the manager. He frowns, questioning why it matters, but our girl insists that she needs to keep the manager happy to secure her position. He doesn't let up, reminding her that giving in now will only lead to more trouble down the road. She sighs, feeling stuck. She can't change her position and doesn't have any power to alter the situation. He, though not offering a solution, acknowledges that it's a tough situation for everyone. In the office, our girl feels the tension rising as our guy confronts her about the way she's been handling things at work. He points out how everyone deals with difficulties but suggests that she shouldn't let her teammates push her around. He tells her that she needs to learn to stand up for herself and speak her mind. Our girl, feeling embarrassed, blushes as she realizes that he might have seen through her. She didn't think anyone would notice, and that thought makes her uncomfortable. She tries to explain herself, saying that it's not just her. Many people hold themselves back, sacrificing their own well-being just to get by. She goes on to tell him that not everyone is as talented as he is, and not all of them have companies lining up to hire them. But he doesn't seem to understand. He asks if she's really making a living by letting people boss her around and do all the tough work. She can't deny it, and for a moment she starts to feel that maybe he's right. He gets closer to her, asking if anyone truly appreciates the hard work she's been putting in. He wonders aloud if she wants to be the person everyone comes to with their problems and work. This strikes a nerve, and our girl, now upset, says she doesn't understand why he's getting so angry. She thinks to herself that she never signed up to be nagged at, especially not when all she's trying to do is be kind. She puts her hand over her chest, trying to reassure herself, and insists that she's fine with everything. She looks at him and with a bit of frustration asks who he thinks he is to judge her. She tells him she's willing to bear the burden, and it's none of his business. In that moment, she blurts out that he's not even her real boyfriend, making her words hit her own ears like a strange echo. He pulls back, almost taken aback, but he insists that if no one points out her mistakes, she'll continue being a fool. Our girl, now more upset, challenges him. She asks what difference it makes to him, and she's quick to add that her choices are hers alone to make. She looks down, feeling a mix of emotions, before lifting her gaze back at him, telling him that even if she seems foolish to him, it hasn't hurt him in any way. She assures him that it never will, and that the way she chooses to live her life is entirely up to her. She bows slightly and tells him that if he'll excuse her, she has to leave. Our girl walks away, closing the door behind her, but not before hearing the whispers from her colleagues. She thinks to herself, "Oops, was I too loud?" As she sits back at her desk, she starts to reflect on her words. She reminds herself that she didn't say anything wrong, but she can't shake the image of his face when she mentioned he wasn't her real boyfriend. She thinks it's strange that such a simple remark has stayed with her, but in the end, she resolves to be more careful in the future. The next day, our girl sits down in the cafeteria at work, her mind still on the argument she had with our guy. She doesn't feel like eating much, so she takes a small amount of food. A colleague sits down beside her, noticing her small portion. She asks why our girl is eating so little, and our girl simply says that she doesn't really want to eat. Her coworker then comments, teasingly, that when you're in love, you don't need to eat much. She says she wishes she could be like our girl. Our girl doesn't respond, but thinks to herself that the comment is far from true. As our girl quietly eats, she can't help but glance at our guy from across the cafeteria. She watches him eat, and a wave of thoughts rushes through her mind. She tells herself she wouldn't care, but she still does. She's unsure of why he's sitting there alone, and she can't stop thinking about him. Then, Chuni, another coworker, walks over and notices our girl's distracted look. Chuni asks if she's made up with our guy yet. Our girl reads her, thinking about the situation, and replies that it's not as simple as it seems. Chuni insists that our girl should fix things with him quickly. She mentions how cold our guy had been in the morning meeting, so cold that it felt like the room was freezing. Another coworker agrees, adding that it's as if our guy is pushing people away, and someone else remarks that our guy isn't as warm as he used to be. Chuni, still speaking, tells our girl that admitting her mistake might be the way to go. She then suggests that a little physical closeness could solve everything, even adding a joke about how men can be won over with the right touch. Our girl, amused but not interested, wonders if Chuni is serious, but she doesn't engage. She thinks about Chuni's advice but shakes it off. She's curious, though, and asks Chuni what skills she's talking about, just to know. Before Chuni can respond, a voice interrupts them. It's Hyunwoo, and he asks if he can sit down with them. Chuni invites him to sit, and he thanks her as he joins the table. As our girl looks at our guy again, she wonders if he notices her watching. She doesn't think so, but she can't stop herself from looking. Hyunwoo, sensing the tension, asks our girl if she's stressed. Chuni, ever the conversationalist, jumps in, explaining that they're discussing how to handle conflicts with lovers. Our girl can't help but roll her eyes inside, knowing that Chuni is being a bit dramatic. Curious, asks Hyunwoo how he would handle a fight with his girlfriend. Hyunwoo laughs and says he'd talk things out, try to resolve the issues, and if the other person doesn't want to talk, maybe it's time to end the relationship. Hyunwoo agrees, offering his thoughts, and Chuni pats him on the back, joking that his advice is perfect. Our girl watches them, finding the conversation both funny and frustrating. But she can't help but let out a sarcastic laugh. On Saturday morning, the boss is waiting outside to take the employees. The manager tells everyone to hurry up, but some of the employees are clearly unhappy about it. One of them complains, wondering why they always have to climb the mountain at this hour every week when they could be sleeping. Another employee asks why they weren't given a notice 2 days before. As they discuss, someone notices the vice president is coming, and everyone immediately becomes quiet. The manager greets the employees, and Ms. Yoon responds with a polite, "Good morning." The manager asks if everyone is here, and Ms. Yoon tells him that only the leader and Seo are missing. The manager looks at Miss Young, asking why Seo isn't present. Ms. Yoon explains that Seo is sick and can't join them. The manager, however, wonders if Seo is pretending. Our girl, thinking about Seo's situation, wonders if it's because of an argument with Hyunwoo. She shakes her head, trying not to get involved in other people's issues, especially when it comes to relationships. Once everyone gets on the bus, our girl holds her phone in her hand, thinking that no one has contacted her since the argument, which is a relief. She's glad to avoid him. As our girl settles into her seat, Hyunwoo comments that the front seat is still empty. He then walks over to where she is sitting and explains that he often gets carsick. Our girl simply responds with a short, "Yes," thinking that she used to get nervous when he came near her, but now she feels nothing special. Hyunwoo sits next to our girl and asks if the leader is coming. Our girl tells him that maybe the leader has an important appointment. Hyunwoo then asks if our girl and the leader have made up. Our girl, thinking about the situation, feels frustrated, realizing that dating at work means nothing stays private. Hyunwoo continues, reminding her of something he told her yesterday. If a problem can't be solved, it should be ended. Our girl, confused, asks what he means. Hyunwoo insists that it's based on his experience. Our girl rolls her eyes, thinking about how Hyunwoo is in trouble with Seo himself. Hyunwoo then laughs and offers our girl a bottle of water, joking that he's being too serious. He insists that she take it, but our girl politely refuses, saying she's fine. Still, Hyunwoo presses on, saying he brought many bottles and handed one to her. Just as Hyunwoo is about to pass the bottle to our girl, someone else reaches out and takes it. Our girl looks up, surprised to see that it's our guy. He opens the bottle and drinks, saying that it's just what he needed. He thanks Hyunwoo, telling him to eat well. From behind, an employee remarks that they thought our guy couldn't come, to which our guy responds, saying he had intended to join, but something made him uncomfortable. He looks directly at Hyunwoo as he speaks. On the bus ride, our girl is taken by surprise when our guy suddenly says that he'll sit by the aisle. Moments later, he tells her he'll sit beside her, and she softly responds with a simple, "Ah, yes." As he sits down beside her, he hands her a bottle of water. He encourages her to drink it. She takes the bottle, opening it, though she wonders to herself, didn't he buy it? This is the first time they're meeting since that one day, and it feels so awkward. She looks over at him and jokes, saying that climbing is tiring and he should have stayed at home. But in her mind, she's thinking, I'm so shy, why do I only say things that sound like jokes? He smiles and responds, saying he doesn't like climbing either, but there's no other way. He says something about the thirsty coming to the well, and our girl doesn't quite understand. She wants to ask, but then stops herself thinking, I can't understand him. Turning her face away, she feels the closeness between them, bumping shoulders. It's all just too close. As the boss continues speaking, our girl feels a little restless. Our guy, noticing this, asks her if she's sleepy. He suggests she rest her head on his shoulder, patting it lightly. Our girl hesitates, thinking, Dohun, we're surrounded by company employees, but she just shakes her head and tells him she's not sleepy. He doesn't let it go, though, by pointing out that she's been yawning constantly. He says that she's yawned 6 times already. Our girl is a little embarrassed and thinks to herself, 6 times? She quickly responds, saying that she's fine and doesn't sleep on the bus. But deep down, she admits to herself that she's the one who actually sleeps well on buses. Then he asks if he can rest his head on her shoulder, explaining that he hasn't slept much because he's been thinking a lot. Our girl is caught off guard, but she lets him, saying it's okay if he's not too heavy. He places his head on her shoulder, and she can't help but think about how much weight he has, even though she doesn't say anything aloud. With our guy resting, our girl reflects on how she's feeling. As the bus finally reaches their destination, they both get off. Our girl feels a little cold, but there's a sense of brightness in the air. Climbing doesn't seem that bad after all. She watches as some employees discuss our guy, talking about how handsome he is and how well he carries himself. One even mentions that her husband wears the same clothes, but they still think our guy looks good in whatever he wears. Our girl overhears this, and in her mind, she thinks he's outstanding in so many ways. Our guy walks up to our girl and asks her if she's planning to climb Mount Everest. She laughs and says maybe, holding a hat in her hand. She's prepared for the climb, and she shows it with the hat. Our guy reaches out his hand and says, "Give it to me." But our girl, not what he expects, puts the hat on her head. Our guy, confused, tells her he wasn't talking about the hat, but about her backpack. She questions him, wondering why. He takes the backpack from her and says he wants to help carry it. She insists, saying the backpack is heavy, but our guy simply puts it on his back. As they start their climb, our girl mentions that the team might think they are arguing. However, she clarifies that it's not really an argument, just a disagreement. He asks if his words upset her, and our girl admits she's not angry, but more resentful. She confesses that she doesn't enjoy climbing, but it's part of the job. She's tired, but pushes through for her company. She also says she's used to encouraging herself to endure. Our guy listens, and, seeing her turn towards him, apologizes for what he said earlier. He adds jokingly that he thinks she's a stupid girl. Our girl, confused by the apology, wonders to herself if our guy is truly apologizing. He looks at her, a little more serious now, and tells her he hopes she can be a bit selfish sometimes. He wants her to think for herself and stop suffering for others. She asks how she could do that, and he responds, "Why not? If I get angry more, I'll swear." She smiles, saying she's not that ignorant. She then notices the employees walking behind them and comments that they might think they're arguing. Our guy, noticing her serious expression, tells her to smile, and she tries, faking a smile. He immediately calls it fake, and she laughs, now genuinely smiling. They share a moment, locking eyes and smiling together. He says it's still not enough. He adds that there's distance between them, and, with that, raises his hand to touch her face. Our girl is taken aback, but he assures her that he'll show them. In the middle of a quiet moment, Dohun and Dajung are standing together. He continues touching her face, and she looks into his eyes. Our girl, feeling the tension in the air, can't help but wonder if he's about to kiss her. Our guy, with a playful look, suggests they could close the distance between them. Her heart races, and she wonders if this is the moment, but as our guy leans in, she quickly shuts her eyes, expecting the kiss. But instead, he teases her, asking why she closed her eyes, implying she thought he would kiss her right there. Our girl, now embarrassed, stops herself from speaking for a moment. She blushes, feeling both confused and flustered, and then admits that he started this awkward moment. He cuts in, claiming he would never kiss her in front of their colleagues. He explains that he's the type to take control, but not in such a public setting. As he speaks, she can't help but wonder what he means by this, unsure of how to react. She accuses him of just trying to tease her, but he denies it. Instead, he comments on how Hyunwoo made him feel like he had to step in and tell him to back off. Our girl, still processing, thinks to herself that Hyunwoo hadn't done anything wrong. Our guy, sensing that she's still upset, asks if she's still mad. Our girl, frustrated, admits she feels like she's being played. Our guy offers to start fresh, suggesting they could reset the situation and try again. She brushes him off, telling herself to stay calm, but can't help but feel a mix of emotions. She turns away slightly, and our guy, looking at her, says that he's holding back too. He doesn't want their first kiss to be on a hiking trail in front of everyone. His heart races at the thought of this ongoing tension between them, wondering how much longer he can keep it up. In the next scene, the employees are gathered, seated on the floor, and our girl, still holding a cup of water, listens to the conversation around her. Her colleagues, laughing and chatting, talk about how much they dislike drinking so much water, especially with how hard they've worked. Our girl remains quiet, thinking to herself that if they knew the real reason they were all here, it would surely upset them. Suddenly, Chuni speaks to her, mentioning how close she and our guy seem to be on their way up the trail. Our girl, caught off guard, tries to play it off but is quickly drawn into the teasing. Chuni goes on, joking about how obvious it is that she and our guy are a couple. Our girl, trying to keep her cool, doesn't respond but can feel the heat rising in her cheeks. Chuni and the others continue to giggle, making our girl feel even more self-conscious. As the laughter dies down, the manager, standing nearby, approaches our girl. He asks why she hasn't finished her drink yet and teases her about keeping up with the pace. He holds out a fresh drink for her, urging her to catch up. Our girl, still processing everything, can only smile and nod, trying to avoid drawing any more attention to herself. It's just another moment in the long day, and she can only wonder what's next in store. In the current scene, our girl sits quietly, holding her cup and thinking back to what our guy had said to her earlier. She remembers how he wished she could be a bit more selfish, speak her mind, and do what she wanted. Our girl, still holding her cup, thinks to herself that she should be more straightforward. She then turns to the manager and with a calm voice tells him that she doesn't want to drink. As soon as the words leave her mouth, the room falls into an eerie silence, and the manager glares at her. He asks, with obvious surprise, why she doesn't want to drink. Our girl answers that it's a long way to the top, and she might hurt herself if she gets too drunk. The manager scoffs, calling her words nonsense. He claims that drinking doesn't stop anyone from reaching the top, mentioning that he's been drunk while hiking for years and never hurt himself. Our girl stands up, asserting that she just can't exercise after drinking. At this point, the manager, now visibly frustrated, says that she's a young career woman but lacks stamina. He adds, almost in disbelief, that this is why he doesn't approve of hiring women, because they can't drink, neglect their duties, and complain about health problems. He even goes as far as to say that women wouldn't be able to give birth and raise children without having strong bodies. Our girl, completely shocked, tries to hold back her anger. She thinks to herself that this man is a crazy prick, and the idea of quitting and confronting him crosses her mind. However, just as she's about to speak, Chuni steps in from behind, gently touching our girl's shoulder. With a calm voice, Chuni suggests that the manager shouldn't be angry in such weather and offers to pour him a drink. She then leads the manager away, leaving our girl to reflect on the situation. As they walk away, the manager, still upset, tells Chuni that she seems like the only decent person on the planning team. Chuni brushes it off, reassuring our girl that everything is fine. Our girl, however, feels conflicted. She places a hand on her head and thinks to herself that she should have just told the manager off. Now, not only did she not make her point clear, but she's also pretty sure the manager dislikes her even more. Continuing their journey up the mountain, our girl, lost in thought, rests her chin on her hand. Suddenly, our guy comes up from behind her and asks why she ended up drinking after doing such a great job of holding back. Our girl responds with frustration, admitting that she was mad. She shouldn't have kept quiet. He pats her shoulder, encouraging her by saying she did a great job. Our girl, feeling defeated, replies that she didn't, she lost. Our guy, looking at her with a puzzled expression, disagrees, saying the game has only just begun. He instructs her to raise her hand with the palm facing in a certain direction. She follows his lead, and as both their hands come together, she quickly pulls her hand away and asks who did that. He smiles and casually replies that she just tagged him in. They both glance over at the manager, and our guy, with a mischievous grin, suggests that he'll take care of the manager for our girl. He walks up to the vice president and calls out to him, asking if he can have a word. The vice president, noticing him, walks over and asks what's going on. He tells him that many people are struggling to hike after drinking and that he plans to let them rest for a bit. He adds that he will go down with them to avoid any injuries. The vice president seems confused and responds that hiking is supposed to be tiring. Our guy agrees, but points out that forcing people to hike on a Saturday when they should be resting is making them more exhausted than usual. The vice president reacts sharply, asking if our guy is criticizing him for planning this weekend trip. He says that he also wants to rest, but explains that the activity is important for promoting teamwork and discipline. Our guy, however, remains firm, stating that hiking is not the best way to promote teamwork. He expresses concern that fatigue could hurt productivity. The vice president then slaps his forehead in frustration, clearly not happy with our guy's perspective. He quickly adds that working with people from outside Korea, like our guy, is difficult. Our guy, trying to remain calm, tells the vice president that while things may be done differently in Australia, this is Korea. He reminds him that there are strict rules about conduct in a big company like theirs. The vice president, irritated, responds by telling our guy that if he's in Korea, he should follow the Korean way of doing things. Our guy agrees, but adds that as long as it's legal, he'll do what's expected of him. He mentions that drinking is prohibited in Korean national parks and points out that, despite that, the vice president is drinking and encouraging others to do the same. He also warns him that others are out there to hike, not to drink. Our guy asks, more pointedly, if the vice president really thinks this activity is beneficial to the company's image. He adds that he's curious what the director and chairman would say if they heard about this. The vice president gets defensive, saying our guy has no right to speak about the chairman so casually. However, our guy isn't finished. He presses on, stating that the comments the vice president made to him during their break can be considered sexual harassment. The vice president scoffs, denying it, and insists that his comment about someone's body not being strong enough for childbirth was just a joke. Our guy reminds him that during the company's annual anti-harassment seminar, they were taught that any unwelcome sexual conduct or comments are harassment. At this point, the vice president, now more agitated, accuses our guy of looking out for his girlfriend, Dajung. Our guy quickly interrupts, saying that our girl is also a member of his team and that he would have said the same thing if the comments were directed at anyone else on the team. The vice president, now even more angry, asks if our guy is trying to teach him a lesson. Our guy calmly replies that he's not trying to teach anything. Instead, he requests that the vice president stop harassing his team members. The vice president, still upset, responds that our guy's words don't sound like a request at all. Our guy finishes with a final plea, mentioning that the director had once said that while the vice president's methods might be traditional, he genuinely cares about his team. He simply hopes the vice president's actions won't let the director down. As our guy walks away, the vice president can't help but think about the director's fondness for our guy. He realizes that if the director hears about this, his relationship with him could be in jeopardy. He is talking to the vice president. He's asked for permission to allow employees to head back down if they're too tired to continue hiking. The vice president agrees, saying, "Fine, have it your way." Our guy thanks him and then turns his attention to our girl, who is speaking with Chuni. Our guy announces that anyone feeling too exhausted should go back down, while the rest will continue to the summit. He reassures them that he already got the manager's approval, so there's no need to worry. Some of the employees express their surprise, saying they can't believe our guy is doing something right for once, and they hurry before he changes his mind. Our girl calls out to our guy, asking how he convinced the manager without fighting with him. Our guy, with a smile, says it's simple, he just asked. Our girl, curious, asks what he asked. He tells her that he asked the manager not to mess with his girlfriend. She blushes, thinking to herself how straightforward he is. She thanks him, but also apologizes for any trouble caused. He reassures her, saying it's because of their relationship that this happened, so it's only natural that he steps in to fix things. As they talk, he notices that our girl's face is still red. He asks her how much she drank, but she quickly covers her cheeks and claims she didn't drink much and is completely sober now. He smiles, relieved, and jokes about how he was worried he might have to carry her down. Our girl, now blushing again, wonders whether her red face is from the alcohol or from our guy. Their hands accidentally touch, and our guy holds her hand, making her freeze for a moment. Awkwardly, she tells him to stop and asks what he thinks he's doing. He grins and reminds her that their style of dating is to let everyone know they're together. He interlocks their fingers and lifts their hands, which makes her wonder what she's going to do with him. Later, they're on the bus, and our girl is sleeping with her head resting on our guy's shoulder. He gently wakes her up, calling her name. She wakes up with a start, realizing where she is. Our guy asks if she slept well, and our girl, still a bit confused, wonders if she really fell asleep. He assures her she didn't wake up once and adds that she must have enjoyed the trip a lot. Our girl, still trying to make sense of everything, asks if he's joking. Our guy, however, insists he's not, and with a little chuckle, he tells her that everyone but the driver is asleep, so they should get moving as well. It's clear that things are moving forward, with him taking the lead, looking out for her, and making sure everything goes smoothly. Our girl, though slightly embarrassed by the attention, is still trying to adjust to the closeness they're sharing. After stepping off the bus, he takes out his car key and unlocks the car. The car beeps as he opens the door for our girl. He tells her to get in, and she does. As soon as she sits inside, she asks him if he didn't drink. Our guy simply replies, no. Our girl, curious, asks why, and he explains that it's so he could drive her home. She blushes, her face turning bright red, and she can't look at him. Her heart races as she turns away, thinking to herself how she's feeling. Our guy, noticing her discomfort, suggests that she might be tired and could sleep a bit. She quickly responds, saying she's fine. He agrees, mentioning that she must have rested well on the bus. Our girl apologizes, saying her head must have been heavy. He laughs, telling her that it was as light as a soccer ball. She wonders to herself if he's being sarcastic, but then recalls how she had leaned on his shoulder earlier. A little embarrassed, she can't remember what it felt like. He looks at her again and asks if she's really not tired. Our girl explains that usually she feels exhausted after hiking, but today she feels fine. She must have slept really well. Our guy then asks if she has any coffee, to which our girl responds, no. As she thinks about it, her sisters come to mind. They always tell her not to rush back home every day and to go out and meet someone instead. They even joke about her staying out all night. He then casually invites her to go to his place if she doesn't have any other plans. She hesitates, wondering if it's too late. Our guy, however, teases her, asking if 5 o'clock is too late for her. He jokes, wondering if she's scared he might try to eat her or something. She blushes again, and her thoughts go wild. Going to someone's house so spontaneously still feels strange to her. Before she can say anything, he interrupts her thoughts, reassuring her not to worry. She tries to explain that it's not what she's thinking, but he chuckles, calming her down. With a playful grin, he tells her he won't bite her, at least not yet. Dajung and Dohun arrive at his house, stepping out of the car. She looks at the house and asks if this is really where he lives, as she thought he stayed in a studio apartment. He smiles and puts the pin to the door, explaining that the studio is where he stays during the week, but this is his real home. Our girl, shocked, thinks about how expensive this must be. She can't help but feel a little envious, especially since she's still living with her mom. Meanwhile, our guy opens the door and invites her inside. She agrees, saying she's coming in, and as she enters, she looks around and comments on how spacious it is. He unzips his jacket and offers her the chance to freshen up, asking if she wants to shower after their hike. She is taken aback by the suggestion, wondering why she would need to shower. She thinks about it, deciding she'd love a hot bath, but then remembers it's our guy's house, so she feels it wouldn't be appropriate. She tells him she'll just wash her hands and feet, to which he points to the bathroom and agrees. She sits down in the living room, trying to watch TV but unable to focus. Her mind keeps drifting, thinking about Dohun taking a shower in the room on the other side of the wall. Her face turns red, and she shakes her head, calling herself a pervert for thinking such things. Just then, he walks into the living room, wiping his face with a towel. She tries to play it cool and sits up straight, thinking to herself that she definitely didn't imagine his naked body. Our guy, noticing her gaze, teases her, asking if she can't take her eyes off the TV. Her thoughts quickly shift, and she tries to push the awkwardness away. He sits beside her and suggests they watch TV together, asking if she wants to show him something she likes. Our girl, eager to avoid more awkward moments, quickly changes the subject. She tells him that the show isn't interesting and instead asks for a tour of the house. Our guy, with a slight smirk, agrees and starts showing her around. He first shows her his closet, then his study. She looks around and wonders just how many rooms our guy has. It seems like there are 3 or 4 rooms just for himself. Then, he opens the door to his bedroom, and Dajung, taking a glance, comments on the size of his bed. She jokes that it looks big enough for 3 people, to which he responds that it's too small for 3, but perfect for 2. Our girl, embarrassed, quickly turns away, her face flushed with heat. Her heart races as she tries to calm down, thinking that she might explode. She suddenly changes the topic, asking to see the other rooms. He agrees and leads her up to the 2nd floor. As they climb the stairs, she curiously asks what's on the 2nd floor. He replies that this is the reason he bought the house, and it's also why he invited her there. Our girl's eyes widened, wondering what could be so special about it. When they reach the top, she looks around and initially doesn't see much difference. But then, her eyes fall on a huge glass wall, offering a beautiful view of the sky. She's amazed by the sight and can't help but exclaim, "Wow!" He slides open the glass door and they step outside. The evening sky stretches above them and she looks up, her eyes wide. She says how beautiful it is, amazed by the view. Our guy, still watching her, asks if she likes it, and she responds with a simple, "Yes, I do. What a fantastic terrace. Whoever designed this house really thought this out." As he watches her smile, he feels a sense of happiness. He then asks if she'd like to stay here, explaining that if she likes it so much, she could move in. He suggests she could stay on the upper floor, while he stays on the 1st floor. Of course, it wouldn't be free, but he offers to let her pay half the usual rent for the area. He says it all with a smile, folding his hands as if to make it sound casual. He freezes for a moment, unsure how to react. In her mind, she wonders if he's joking. She tells him that she doesn't know if she could afford it. Our guy, not wanting to make her feel uncomfortable, responds that he could lower the price if she's interested. As she listens, she looks at him, then looks down. Her thoughts drift, and she thinks about how whoever ends up with him will be incredibly lucky. They will get to see that warm smile every day. Just then, he turns to her and suggests they go back downstairs as it's getting cold. But our girl, wanting to stay a bit longer, asks if they can stay out a little more. She remembers something she had told him earlier about the shiny color she liked, referring to the stars. She shares a memory from her childhood when she was just 6 years old and didn't fully understand what death meant after her father passed away. She had read a book that said people become stars after they die, and she believed her father had become one, watching over her family. The thought made her feel like he was still with her, comforting her, even if she couldn't see him. Her mother once told her that she would look up at the sky and talk to her father, believing he could hear her. As she shares this, he looks at her with a soft gaze and says, "You must miss him very much." She nods, her voice trembling as she continues, saying that she feels sorry for all the moments they never shared, like going to the theme park or her graduation. Tears begin to fill her eyes, and she wipes them away as she talks. She wishes they could have made more memories together before he passed. The tears start to flow, and she tries to wipe them away quickly, embarrassed for crying in front of someone else. "I can't believe I've cried twice in front of you," she says, surprised at herself. Dohun, moved by her vulnerability, hugs her, pulling her close. Her eyes widen in surprise, and she asks, "Dohun, what are you doing?" But he only responds, "Dajung, do you believe in fate?" Our girl, still in shock, says that she does. Then our guy says that at least now he really does. He holds her even tighter and softly whispers, "It's all thanks to you, Dajung." Our girl's heart races as our guy speaks to her, telling her it's all thanks to her. She can feel his eyes on her, and as he gently caresses her face, he leans in, bringing his face closer to hers. Just when it seems like he's about to kiss her, she quickly turns her head away, thinking to herself that she can't do this. She rushes away from him, her mind racing with confusion and panic. "Oh my God, this is insane," she thinks, feeling a sense of disbelief. She wonders what she's doing, and now she has to face him again. Fast forward to Monday, and our girl arrives at the office, still shaken by the events of the weekend. Chuni greets her with a pat on the shoulder, wishing her a good morning. Our girl responds, still a little distracted, commenting on how early Chuni is. Chuni, looking pleased, tells her that our guy is on vacation today, as he's going to Japan for a business trip starting that day. Our girl breathes a small sigh of relief. It's nice to know he won't be around this week. Chuni giggles and teases her, asking how she'll handle the loneliness without him. Our girl feels the sting of her teasing, but keeps her thoughts to herself. As she stands alone, our girl reflects on what happened with our guy over the weekend. She hasn't spoken to him since that night, and although she's thankful he won't be around this week, she's still grappling with the emotions that surfaced. She remembers their conversation about faith, where our guy had asked if she believed in it. She had told him she didn't, until that moment. She remembers him saying that it was thanks to her that he believed now. What did he mean by that? Did he think they were meant to be together? And then there was that moment when he almost kissed her. If she hadn't run away, would things have been different? While our girl is lost in thought, one of her coworkers approaches her, noticing that she seems bothered. Our girl quickly shakes it off, telling her that nothing is wrong. Her coworker insisted that she had been calling her name, but our girl didn't respond. The coworker asks if our girl could grab some file labels from the supply room as she's out. Our girl nods, and as she's about to head out, her coworker adds that she can also grab them on her way to the break room, but she'll need them soon. Dajung, thinking back to a time when our guy had told her to stop letting people boss her around, remembers his words. You need to put your foot down, speak your mind. She suddenly feels frustrated. She always thought she was helping her coworkers, but now they're just taking advantage of her. That's it, she thinks. She's had enough. Turning to her coworker, our girl calmly says that she doesn't need to go to the supply room anymore and that she won't be running errands for her anymore. She asks why her coworker always makes her do things that she can't do herself. The coworker awkwardly tries to explain, saying it's because our girl is always in the supply room. Our girl cuts her off, stating that she knows where everything is, and that's why she's always asked. The coworker doesn't know how to respond, simply muttering in agreement. Our girl is tired of being asked to do everything, especially by someone who should be handling their own tasks. After 3 years of working together, she's had enough. She tells the lady she no longer feels like helping with every little thing, and that it's time the lady figured out where the supplies are herself. The lady is not pleased. She walks off muttering to herself, clearly irritated, but our girl doesn't care. She thinks to herself that she won't apologize, and knowing the lady's temper, she won't even talk to her for days. She is firm in her decision. She's done being taken advantage of. Meanwhile, Chuni notices and compliments our girl for handling the situation. Our girl smiles and thanks her, grateful for the support. It feels good to stand up for herself. The clock ticks toward the end of the workday. Our girl is checking her phone when she remembers that Dohun is coming back today from his business trip. She wonders if she should text him to ask if he's arrived safely. Just as she's lost in thought, the vice president bursts into the office, shouting that it's time to go home and that everyone should have a great weekend. He heads out first, and everyone watches him leave. One employee jokingly mentions that the vice president is faster than Usain Bolt. Another employee adds that he's always in such a rush. Chuni then suggests a girls' night out to celebrate the weekend. Some are excited about the idea and agree, while others, like one employee, have other plans and suggest a rain check. Chuni turns to our girl and asks if she's joining, to which our girl agrees, deciding it's a good idea. Chuni then turns to Se-ah, asking if she's coming too. Se-ah, though, waves and says she's not feeling well, so she'll pass. Chuni asks if she's okay, and Se-ah reassures her that it's nothing serious. Just as they're about to leave, Ms. Yoon enters the conversation. She mentions that she won't be joining them because it's her husband's birthday, and she feels she should cook for him. The group doesn't seem too concerned about this, but Chuni, ever polite, expresses regret that Ms. Yoon won't be with them. Another lady adds that maybe Miss Yoon can join next time. Miss Yoon briefly considers it, but then says it's a shame because she had planned to take everyone somewhere nice. Chuni, trying to keep the mood light, jokingly suggests that Miss Yoon could just give them her credit card so they could go without her. Ms. Yoon looks at Chuni in surprise, and Chuni quickly rephrases, trying to smooth things over. Our girl, watching the interaction, feels a little uneasy, thinking it was a bit scary. Later that night, at the hangout spot, the group gathers around, glasses in hand. They clink their cups together and the drinks are passed around. Our girl, as she sips her drink, wonders to herself how everyone else can handle alcohol so well while she's barely keeping it together. She has a bad feeling about the night ahead. We see the workers of the planning committee seated around a table and having drinks. One says that it's been a while since they last went out like this. Another says that it's nice not having the manager or Mrs. Yoon around for once. A third person says that they should do this more often. A fourth person says that they for sure should order more bottles. Chun-hee notices our girl's silence and stares at her. Our girl stops drinking, cheeks reddened, and returns with a confused look. She wonders why her coworker is staring at her like that. Then she says, "Ha, Dajung, you?" It's obvious that she is drunk, and our girl hums in response. Chun-hee says that she's so jealous of her. Another coworker asks what she's jealous of. Chun-hee says that if there's only one thing she regrets in her life, it's not having gone out with a man like Mr. G before she got married. Her husband was her first love. She was really committed to him since the first day they met. Our girl thinks, Chun-hee? Commitment? Then she continues to speak, saying, okay, she knows what they are all thinking, and why would they think that? But they should look. She was caught up in the moment back then. Why did she choose to settle for an average guy with an average salary? One of the female coworkers looks offended as she scolds her and says that none of that really matters. Chun-hee continues that the only time they're together with their husbands is at night after work. That means there's only one thing men have to be good at. Someone giggles and says that she's so naughty. Our girl puts her head down, flushed with embarrassment, as she thinks that she's never going to get used to these kinds of jokes. One worker asks our heroine what they like the most about Mr. Ji Dajung. Chun-hee says, Jaya, what's there not to like? His face? His physique? He's perfect. Jaya says that looks aren't everything, though. There must be something else that she likes that made her go out with him. Our girl blushes and says, right. Then they probe further, asking so she should tell them what made her fall for him? She says, then thinks about what good things she knows about Mr. G that other people don't. She fidgets with her drink, then says that Mr. G always arrives at the office before anyone else. Chun-hee asks if that's what she likes about him. Another coworker hushes her and tells her to listen. She explains that she means that someone at his level doesn't really have to come earlier than his working hours. Even their new employees start coming in late after a few months. But Mr. G has always come in early for the past 2 years and he's never missed a day. Jaya says, really? Dajung blushes and scratches the back of her neck as she says that made her realize what an unchanging, consistent person he was. He may seem a little cold on the outside, but in fact, he's really warm and considerate. He is exceptionally caring for his teammates. Even though he doesn't mind knocking heads with the manager, he would never do something like that to them. He may sound a bit cold-hearted, but what he says is for their own good. He even knows how to tell a joke, despite the way he looks. Gosh, they have no idea how funny that is. Chun-hee says that she's really head over heels for him, isn't she? Our heroine looks lost. Chun-hee laughs and says goodness, and they should just look at how googly-eyed she's become after talking about him. Dajung says that that's not true. Jaya says that she did, and she knows she's really changed after she started dating. Chun-hee says, come on, Mr. G's the one who really changed. Last week, when they went hiking, remember how she passed out on Mr. G's shoulder the moment she got on the bus, Dajung? Our girl thinks, did that happen the moment she got on? Having someone lay against your shoulder for 2 hours could be tiring, to be honest, but Mr. G was just looking at her so lovingly the whole time. Our girl turns red as she says, loving? No way. Jaya interjects by saying, yeah, she saw that too. Gosh, the way he looked at her, that was enough to make her jealous. Remember how she had a spat with the manager? After that, he seemed so worried about her. Every time Dajung says something, there was always a smile on Mr. G's face. Our girl breaks a sweat as she says, really? Chun-hee, with her red cheeks, says that she didn't know. It seems like everyone has noticed how much he's changed. Our girl thinks that after they started this fake relationship, she thought she started to see different sides of him. But could it be those were all because of her? A male coworker gushes as he says so they have heard one side of the story. Now he wonders what made Mr. Ji fall for Dajung. Our girl still looks lost at their words. The male coworker continues speaking that he's always wondered what kind of women men like Mr. G would go out with. How did these guys end up together? What's their secret? Our female lead grins and says that, well, she's not sure herself. Jaya probes her by saying, come on, she should let them in on her secret. She wants to be ready when the next Mr. Perfect shows up. Chun-hee chugs her drink and interrupts their questions, telling them that asking Dajung won't be helpful at all. She tells them that they need to ask him why he fell for her. Then asks her if her man is coming back to Korea today. Our girl nods and says that yes, he is. And why do they ask? Chun-hee breaks out her phone and says, great, they should get him over here and ask him themselves. Our girl blanches and says, what? Chun-hee ignores her and asks where Mr. G's number is. Dajung tries to discourage them by saying, doesn't he might be busy at the moment? Chun-hee argues, what does she mean busy? He finished everything this morning and he should have already arrived in Seoul by now. Our girl says that, but won't he be tired? Jet lag, perhaps? Chun-hee finally finds the number, but our female lead stops her by saying that she will call him by herself. Our girl's internal debate begins. The spicy her asks if this is really necessary. Her smart side says that it's probably better if she calls. God knows what she'll say to him. The timid version of her shrinks deeper, assuring her that she wants to call him. They make her promise that she will, and she thinks that she hasn't contacted him since that day at his place. But she can't trouble him by calling him for something out of the blue like this. Should she just say it went straight to voicemail? All the workers look giddy as she makes the call while she looks miserable. Then she thinks that, or should she just hang up and tell everyone that he can't answer at the moment? She hopes that he doesn't pick up. He picks up the call and her heart rate triples. She wonders if anyone heard that, or should she just pretend it didn't go through and hang up? Her coworkers look smug as he calls after her on the phone, saying, Miss Han. She says that he must be busy and he's not picking up. Chun-hee takes the phone from her hand and says she should give it to her. Chun-hee says, why hello there? Our girl's male lead says that isn't this Miss Han's phone? Why is Miss Chun-hee answering it? The coworker in question giggles at how the situation is going. Chun-hee says, oh, did she make him angry? She's scared. Our guy says that he's not angry at all and she should please continue. Our female lead looks horrified. Chun-hee says that, well, they are having a girls' night out and Dajung seems to have had a tad too much to drink. But the problem is, they're all kind of drunk here, so they're not sure if they'll be able to take care of her or not. Chun-hee, being a natural liar, cooks up a nice story. She continues to say that so she believes that now is the time for her knight in shining armor to jump in and take action, which is exactly why she called him. Everyone holds their breath as he responds, but they can't hear him. Chun-hee says that's right. The bar near their company, see him in a bit. Our girl realizes that he's coming and wonders why. Then the call ends. Chun-hee smirks as she says that he's on his way. The workers gush, as one says that was smooth, Chun-hee. Another says that this is going to be so fun. Our girl realizes that they haven't talked in a week. The sensible side of her says that, well, She had every reason not to contact him. Her timid version wonders why her coworker will do that. She herself questions that, and the first thing he hears about her is that she is drunk. The spicy part of her gets frustrated and says that's it, they should just quit this job altogether. Our girl wonders if things can get any worse. She's so stunned that she wonders what she's going to do. Our girl looks annoyed as she calls her coworker's name and says that she didn't have to lie to get him to come. Chunhee asks why she says that she lied. Our heroine says that she's not drunk at all, but Chunhee just told him she was. Chunhee raises her bottle and says, "Oh, that? Dajung doesn't have to worry about that at all." Our girl says, "Excuse me?" Chunhee pours the drink into a glass cup and says that it won't matter as long as she gets drunk before he gets here. Our girl asks what she wants to do. Chunhee winks at her and says, "All right, let the drinking games begin. Whoever loses must empty the glass, no excuses." Our girl realizes that she's doomed. Chunhee has become a different person all of a sudden. Our favorite coworker grins as she tells our girl that she's lost again. The female protagonist wonders how many glasses she's had. Her cheeks are red and she feels dizzy. She thinks that she's just about to reach her limit, and the workers beside her are encouraging her to keep drinking. One even goes as far as to say that she's hoarding all the drinks, but she still thinks that she can't decline every drink that comes her way. She downs the drink as they tell her not to leave a drop behind. She thinks that she doesn't care anymore. Chunhee goads her, saying that she needed that drink. Our girl joins the group as he says that he knocked quite a few times, but Chunhee interrupts him and says, "Oh, Mr. G, hope he has a nice business trip." They tell him to please have a seat beside our main female. The former owner of the seat gets up and says that she's going to sit over there. He can sit here. He sits and turns to her, quietly asking her if she's okay. She tells him that she thinks so. Then she looks away and breaks a sweat, saying that, or maybe not, she's not so sure. She realizes that now she can see him. She can't stop thinking about what happened. Our guy asks her what she means. She reddens and realizes that her face has gotten red. He looks at her and tells the group that it looks like Miss Han seems to have had too much to drink. He's going to take her home. He tells his girl that they should go, and they stand up. Chunhee interrupts them by saying, "Hold it. Who said they could leave? He can come whenever he likes, but he can't leave without her permission." Our guy tells her that she said he should come to take her home. She says yes, she did, but since he came here as Dajung's boyfriend today, he has to try and impress them so that they'll allow him to leave with her. If he answers a few questions, they will let them go. His mood dampens as he asks if this is necessary. They tell him that he could also impress them by chugging the penalty glass. He eyes the glass filled with alcohol and asks if this is the so-called penalty glass. Our favorite coworker says, "Nope, the penalty glass." And there she gestures to a couple of green bottles and says, "Ta-da." He can chug these, since bottles are also made of glass. His annoyance grows as Chunhee says that these are fairly easy questions. He should just think of it as a small event from the employees who support the Do couple. Our girl tries to say that he still doesn't understand why Chunhee interrupts him by saying, "That's right. Do couple is short for Dajung and Dohun couple. She came up with that. It's made from the first letters of their names. Isn't it cute?" Now our coworker stands up and uses a spoon as a mic as she says, "Now, question number 1. The other workers clap and hail her. She says that everyone was surprised when they announced that they were a couple. They should please tell them how they got together and who made the first move. Our girl looks at him and wonders how they can tell them when they're not actually in a relationship. To be fair, she did make the first move, but it was an accident. She wonders how he's going to get himself out of this. He tells them that he made the first move. He's had feelings for her for quite a long time. Our girl looks surprised at his confession. Her heart beats as he continues to speak. He says, and one day he decided to tell her. The next question he is asked is what made him fall for her. Our girl thinks that, is he really improvising? He breaks a sweat and says that's a bit personal, doesn't she think? Our coworker winks at him and says, well, he doesn't have to tell them. He can always choose to drink instead. Our girl releases a breath from his lips. He realizes that it's like they're watching a soap opera. He tells her that it's because she's pretty. The female workers gush at his response, and the follow-up question is which part of her did he think was the prettiest? He tells her that it was her smile. The girls chuckle and say, "Oh my gosh, he just said that he liked her smile." He says that whether she is concentrating at work, getting distracted, nodding off after lunch, making small talk with her teammates, stumbling because of her heels, or flushed from drinking, she is always pretty to him. That's why he is dating her. Our girl's heart beats fast as she hears him. The couple shares a look. The workers gush, and one says, Did they hear what he said? That's so romantic. Looks like he really fell for Dajung. His last question comes forward, and if he answers this one, he can finally take his lover and head out. When and where was their first kiss? The question takes both of them by surprise. The workers agree that the host has guts. Our girl turns red and begins to protest that it's a personal question. The host laughs and says that she doesn't think that's a very difficult question. Our girl insults her in her head, but if it was just us girls, she would have been even more inappropriate. The host further probes that Kat got his tongue, or did he forget where their first kiss was? He says that he'll just take the penalty glass, please. Our girl stops him and says that he can't drink that much alcohol at once. He could get alcohol poisoning. Chunhee says, true, it's dangerous to chug a bottle of soju at once. Our guy tells her that she's the one who came up with this nightmare of an idea. She laughs him off and says of course she was just kidding. She says that they should switch things up a little, and they'll take his health into consideration and change the penalty. He wonders what she's going to come up with now. She tells them that they know how those princesses in fairy tales are woken up by true love's first kiss. Now what will wake up poor Dajung from the treacherous curse of alcohol? Of course, it's going to be her true love, the prince of the planning team, and his passionate kiss. Our guy looks crossed now, and he has a lot to say, but is too annoyed to say it. Chunhee tells him that if he wants to take her home, he should give her a big fat smooch, and then they can leave. Our girl insults the host in her head. The coworkers present encourage it and tell him to kiss her. She thinks that she's doomed. They're all too drunk to think clearly. How are they going to look at each other the next week? Should she just chug that bottle of soju and pass out? A kiss, really? They keep encouraging them to kiss, and our girl thinks that what the heck is going on now? They're not actually a couple. They just held hands to make people believe it was real. They did almost a few days ago, but how does she get out of this? He tells them that he's afraid that's a bit difficult to do. Chunhee says that they should come on now, he can do it. She encourages the crowd that they should cheer them on. Our guy looks flustered at their words. Jaya says that Mr. G looks like he's a little shy. Why doesn't Dajung make the move? Chunhee says, oh yes, that totally works. Our girl thinks that if they were actually a couple, a small kiss would be a piece of cake, but they're not, and if they refuse, they'll think something's up. Our girl looks flustered as well. She thinks that they're all too hyped to reason with. Maybe she should just go along with it. Yeah, it's just a peck on the cheek. She heard they even do it as a greeting in some countries. He spent some time in Australia, so maybe he'll understand. Our guy maintains his cool demeanor and says that's enough. He says that he thinks they're all too drunk right now. That's enough fooling around. They all seem to be forgetting that he's still their team lead at work. He gets up and asks his girl if she is okay and if she can get up. She tells him yes in a shaky voice. He says okay, and they both stand up, and he tells them that he'll take Ms. Han home now. They should pace themselves and get home safely. They say okay and sorry, Mr. G. He tells them to enjoy the rest of their weekend and see them next week. They all echo goodbye, sir. In the car, we see our main couple driving on a dark road in a light rain. Our girl breaks a sweat as she says thanks for driving her home, and also she's so sorry for today. He turns to look at her and asks her sorry for what. She says for calling him out so late, only to be bombarded with awkward questions. He says, oh, that? She says that, even though they were a bit much, she hopes that he won't be too mad at them. She's sure they didn't mean to pick on him or anything. They just wanted to get closer to him, that's all. He sighs and smiles. He turns back to the road and continues to drive as he says that he understands what she means. And she shouldn't worry. He's not that uptight. She says, but he looked really angry when they left. He says, well, that was because he thought she was really uncomfortable with the whole situation. She thinks that, oh, so he acted that way for her. Then she says that, well, that's good to know. She doesn't know why they got so drunk today, and her too. To be honest, she was stressed, and then maybe it was the alcohol, but she started thinking that maybe a kiss on the cheek would be fine. Then she gives off an awkward laugh and scratches her head. He asks her what she means. She says that, well, it's just a small gesture. Don't some foreigners use it as a greeting? They don't do that in Australia? She seems shocked. She means that not on the lips, just the cheek. He tells her to then do it, right now. He leans in, and she says, what? He smirks and says that she just said the cheek was fine. She says that she meant for the penalty, not right now. She turns and wants to leave the car and says that it's getting late. She should go. He says that she should let him walk her home. She doesn't even have an umbrella. She opens the car door and realizes that there is rain. She tells him that it's okay if she gets rained on a bit, Mr. G. He comes out of the car as he tells her that he's not okay with it. He goes to the trunk, opens it, and brings out an umbrella. He comes to her seat, opens the door, and gestures for her to come out as he says, okay, they should go. She takes his hand and says thank you. He turns to her as they walk to her house that won't her family be worried if she came home this late? She says that it's okay. She told them that she was coming home late today. Plus, they don't have a very strict curfew. They have more of a she'll come back whenever kind of vibe at home. He says that's strange. If he had a daughter like her, he'd be worried sick. She laughs and says that it sounds like he can't wait to have a daughter. He must really like children. He says that he doesn't know about that, but of course he'd love to have his own children. She says, well, if his daughter takes after him, she's sure she will be adorable. He laughs and says that he thinks she'll have to take after her mother instead. She says that he sounds like someone who already has a wife. Well, that's just what she thinks. He grins at her words, and she looks speechless. She wonders why he's smiling like that. She says, oh, they're here already. She thanks him for walking her home. He asks her if she is sober now. She says yes, she sobered up when they were pushing them to kiss. She wonders why she keeps bringing up this subject. She urges her mind to be quiet. He asks her why she's blushing all of a sudden. She says that it's the alcohol. He says that, but he thought she was sober. She says that she thinks he's really enjoys picking on her sometimes. He says that he's always enjoyed picking on her. Didn't she know that? She says goodness. Then she thinks that still she's glad to know that things haven't gotten too awkward with Mr. G. What could he have meant by that, though? She remembers when they were hugging and he says, Dajung, does she believe in fate? He does, and at least now he really does. It's all thanks to her. She says, Mr. G, she has something to ask of him. He tells her to go ahead. She says that night at his house, he asked her if she believed in fate, right? She says that yes, she does believe in fate. But that's only because she believes that fate will allow her to reunite with her father in her next life. Her question is, how is she the reason he believes in fate? Does that mean he thinks of her as his destiny? He says yes, that's right. Ever since she confessed to him on Valentine's Day, no. Since the first day he met her at the company, he thought it was fate. She asks why, though. He tells her that because he was waiting for her to come to him all along. Every single day he waited. He holds her hand and calls out her name. He tells her that if he kissed her here, right now, will she run away again, like last time? We see our couple under an umbrella in the rain. The scene looks sweet. He tells her that if he kissed her right here, right now, will she run away again, like last time? Our girl thinks that she should say something, anything, but her mind has gone blank. She can't do anything at all. He kisses her cheek and notices her frown. He says that she said she thought a kiss on the cheek would be fine, but she sure doesn't look like it. She did say that it's just a small gesture or used as a greeting. Our girl thinks that, gosh, how can he be so playful at a moment like this? Our main male smiles as he holds the umbrella. He leans down and says something, but someone calls our girl and she elbows him backward. She looks mortified as she says, Ajung and Sojung. One sister says, you go, girl, while the other says, will you look at that? Our girl figures out that she's done for. Next, we see our couple in Dajung's home. The whole household is awake. She panics and bursts into a sweat as he says that he is sorry if they woke them. Her grandma nods as her mom says that it's all right. They're usually wide awake at this hour. Then the eldest woman turns serious as she says, all right, so who is this young man? He says that he's actually a coworker of Miss Han. He's Ji Dohoon, team lead of the planning team. The women drop their jaws as they take it in. The second sister says that he looks so young that it's hard to believe that he's a team lead. He's not like the chairman's son or anything like that, is he? He says, unfortunately, no. The oldest sister nudges her immediate junior and scolds her by saying that, what does she think this is? A soap opera? Then she turns to our guy and asks, so what's his relationship with her sister? Our girl argues that he just told them that he's just her team lead. Her sister retorts by saying, and why would Mr. Just her team lead take Ms. Just his team member home at this hour? Our girl argues that because she had too much to drink. Her sister looks smug as she says that, okay, she guesses he could do that. But why would the two colleagues be kissing each other in front of her house? Our girl lets out a yell of frustration. She says that they didn't kiss, and she thinks that they interrupted them. Grandma claps and says, oh well, that settles it. The eldest sister nods and says yes. The second sister, who happens to be Sojung, works as a wedding planner and asks him if he has a specific date in mind for their wedding, sir. Spring has passed. How about next year around this time? Ajung argues with her grandma by saying that why wait until next year? They should get it over with before this winter. Our girl groans as she thinks that she knew this was going to happen. She tells them to knock it off and stop making Mr. G so uncomfortable. They turn silent, and she wonders if that did it work. After a brief second of silence, Sojung says that they didn't say anything inappropriate. They never said they don't like him or anything. Ajung says that they were just trying to be supportive. Our grandma breathes a sigh. Dajun wonders who they're supporting. She didn't feel it. They're not actually in a relationship. There is a reason why they're a contracted couple. Her spicy self says that this is so frustrating. Her sensible version says, but they can't tell them that. Our girl touches her head as she feels a headache coming on. She says that their relationship is not what they think it is. Sojung asks then, what is it? She scratches her neck and says that it's a long story. She thinks that how do they explain this kind of relationship to her family? Ajung gets tired of her sister's stammering and turns to the man of the hour. She says that's enough from her sister, and if Mr. G can tell them in his own words, please, what does he consider his relationship with their sister to be? She turns furious, as her expression means that he dares to kiss her sister when he's not her boyfriend. He sighs and says that he's sorry that he didn't want to introduce himself like this. He takes on a confident aura as he says that he is Dajung's boyfriend. Our girl looks shocked. She wonders what he's doing. That does it. Now they're going to bother them until they actually see them walk down the aisle. He continues to speak that it hasn't been long since they started going out, and they're still getting to know each other. So it would be very helpful to their relationship if they could refrain from saying anything that could make her feel uncomfortable. He is worried she might become uncomfortable with him and their relationship. He's had feelings for her for a long time, and this relationship means a lot to him. He would like to do everything he can to make her happy. The ladies look shocked to hear him speak so highly of her and their relationship. He continues speaking that he hopes they could be so kind as to place their faith in him and support their relationship. Grandma seems moved as she says, he certainly has a way with words. Granny turns to her daughter, who is our main girl's mother, and says bonghae. She guesses those years of hardship are finally about to pay off. Bonga says that she knows, right? Both women look happy. Our girl realizes that they completely fell for it. Her sensible side realizes that he has a way with words. Her spicy version asks that is that really important right now? She still wonders what the world he's doing. He apologizes that he has to bother them at such a late hour. He'll be heading out now. Our guy stands up, and Granny says already? He says that yes, it's so late. Miss Han and all of them need to get some rest. Granny protests that it's so late. Why doesn't he spend the night here? Ajung says that's right, it's dangerous to drive at night. Sojung squeals in excitement that he can sleep in Dajung's room with her. It's big and it's warm, so it'll make a perfect room for the two of them. Our girl insults her in her mind and questions what she's saying. She tells her to stop it quietly. Our hero says that's very sweet of them, Lee, but he's afraid that he can't. The mom agrees with him and says that would be so inappropriate, but the sister in question argues that they should see it from where she is coming from. They're dating, and they're adults. Since it's the weekend tomorrow, he can get some sleep here and have some breakfast with them. He says that he appreciates their hospitality, but he doesn't want to trouble them anymore since it's their first meeting. He'll be heading home now. However, if they would be so kind as to invite him next time, he'll be more than glad to come. He's always up for a home-cooked meal any day of the year. Bonghai says, really? What is his favorite dish? He says that he can basically eat everything. He's sure anything that she cooks will be delicious. Granny seems happy at the prospect of him having dinner with them, while her daughter says that she might not be good at a lot of things, but she does know how to whip up a good meal. Granny says that she agrees. The food she makes is so delicious he won't want to eat anywhere else. She looks shocked as she thinks that he's not overwhelmed with anything they say, and leading the conversation the way he wants it to go. But telling her family that they are a couple is taking things too far, isn't it? We see our main couple near a building with rain pouring before them. Our girl apologizes to our guy. He tells her that he hasn't seen her for days, but all she keeps saying to him is sorry. Why is she always saying sorry? She sighs and says that she feels like she's giving him a hard time wherever they go. First it was Chun-hee, and now her family. He says that he liked her family. They are so friendly. She says that her sister can be very rude sometimes. If anything they said upset him, she should apologize on their behalf. He says there she goes again. She goes to apologize again, but mumbles over her words. He laughs and says that they were both quite energetic and a lot of fun. He could be how much they care for her. She says that's because he hasn't seen how they really treat her. He'll be surprised at how much they tease her. He tells her that's their way of showing how much they care for her. Oh, also, does she know how much he hesitated when they asked him to spend the night at her house? Next time they ask him to, he's not going to say no. Our girl turns red and stammers that he too, Mr. G? He should stop teasing her. He laughs, and she says that she's telling him that they get worse if he gives them what they want like that. She wonders if Mr. G was always this playful. In the office, she thinks that she has barely seen him smile. But look how happy he is now. She's still red as she says, come on, this is no laughing matter. Why did he say that he was her boyfriend? They could have just avoided the question if he had just... He cuts her short by reminding her how they saw them together. Saying that they aren't in a relationship after that would sound ridiculous. She says that she knows, but still, and she turns even redder. She thinks that he had them at he's Dajung's boyfriend. They're absolutely in love with him now. But she says that she doesn't want her family to have any false hope. Imagine how disappointed they'll be when he leaves for Australia 8 months from now. And, above all else, they're not in an actual relationship. He steps closer to her and says, okay then. What if they became an actual couple? She flinches. Her heart beats out of her chest. She asks what? He says that he's asking her out, not as a contract relationship, but the real thing. He's the one confessing this time. Rain pelts the roof and makes her question what she just heard. He says that he feels like their relationship has changed a lot, and he would like to see how far it goes. What does she think? Is he still her superior at work? She looks at his sad expression and realizes that was a sincere confession from him. She realizes that she needs to be completely honest with him, too. She looks and says that she thinks he is a very attractive and extremely likable man. She means he's literally flawless. When she sees him, her heart does race. And she's often amazed at how good of a person he is. but she can't be in a relationship with Mr. G because he is a great person. Without being certain of her own emotions, she finally looks at him and says that she's not really sure what she's feeling right now. She's not sure if it's a feeling of appreciation like the other woman at the office would have for him, or the feeling of admiration towards a talented superior at work, or even if she's just getting too much into character, playing the role of her girlfriend. He asks her if she means she's not sure about her feelings toward him. She argues that they haven't spent a lot of time together, and it has only been a month since she's really started to get to know him. He asks her if that isn't enough. She breaks a sweat and says that it's only a month. He asks her again and adds that he guesses her standard and his standard of time are very different. He thinks that maybe he was rushing things too much. Well, since he's the one pushing for this, he'll just need to wait for now. He sighs and says, okay. He'll wait for her to make up her mind. She should just make sure to tell him when she's figured out her emotions. She looks down and says that she can't promise her feelings for him will turn out the way he wants them to. She doesn't want him to get his hopes up. Why would an amazing man like him have to wait for someone like her? She realizes that of course she wants him to wait for her, but she can't afford to be selfish. He says that he's used to waiting. After all, to him, she's always worth waiting for, no matter how long it takes. She wonders how he could be so romantic with his words. It's as if he's prepared all his responses. Is it all right to keep someone like this waiting for her? He steps to her and holds her hand and says that if she finds it hard to approach him, she should just stay there. She doesn't have to come to him, but he shouldn't run away. Wherever she is, whomever she meets, he'll make sure to pull her right back to himself. 2 days later, it's Monday. Birds chirp outside the Han residence as our girl pulls on her jacket, getting ready for work. Her sisters walk into the room and call her name. She says this is new. Why are they up so early? They stare at her blankly. They scan her outfit, and she feels trapped in a corner as she asks what. Why are they looking at her like that? They see that her shirt is simple. Her coat is so-so. Her pants are boring, and the result of the scanning is very ordinary. Dajung asks her if she is seriously going to work like that. She says of course, she's been going to work like this. What else would she wear? Dajung says that her clothes are literally screaming that she has no one she wants to look good for. Sojung adds that, but she has one, her pretty lover boy. Dohun is her team lead, right? He's not only talented, good-looking, tall, and well-spoken, but he is also young? The eldest sister says that women are going to be after him 24/7. She's telling her. Our heroine tells her sister that so what? Everyone at the office thinks he's going out with her already. Her sister questions her sanity as they say that goalies don't always block the ball from scoring, especially when the goalie is a bit slow like herself. Our girl feels the jab straight through her heart. She asks herself if she is sure they are her real sisters. She realizes that she knows they are family, but that was totally below the belt. Sojung tells her that it's because she's her real sister that she's trying to help. Aijung says that if she wants to keep her man, she has to work for it, girl. They've been in her company before. She has a lot of pretty rivals there. She realizes that, well, they're right. He's a human being too, and he might fall for another girl. Her immediate elder sister gives her a bag and says that from now on they're going to be in charge of her wardrobe. She says that she's scared and asks, "What's in that?" Our girl stares at her sisters wide-eyed and asks if they seriously want her to wear that. Aijung says that she's been saving this for a very, very special occasion, but she'll let her wear it first. What does she think? Isn't it pretty? Dajung says that but half of her bottom half is going to be hanging out of it. Her eldest sister says that showing a little skin never hurt anyone. She has to try everything for love. Her older sister says that she should focus and doesn't she want to marry Mr. G. Our girl says that they should please stop. They've only been dating for a month, and what's the rush? Her older sister says a month already? She was proposed to the same week that she started going out with a man. She's got this. The oldest of the sisters says, yeah, it would have been great if the two of them hadn't split up after less than a year of marriage. Our girl's spicy side says that Aijung and her sensible side shushes her and says that she'll flip out if she hears her. Our girl thinks that the two of them split on the day before her wedding. Dajung says now, let her tell her how to make Mr. Ji hers. She should say this to him when she sees him later. Sojung gushes and says, hey, Mr. Ji, does he want to grab some coffee at her place? She just remembered her sister is home tonight. What should they do? Dajung tells her that as soon as he hears that, he'll probably be sad that they can't spend time together. That's when she comes in with this. Then Mr. Ji, could they go to his place instead? Yep, guys go crazy for that kind of stuff. She's sure he will too. Our girl looks mortified as her sister mouths off more advice. Sojung ignores the expression and says that she doesn't even have to go to his house. She should just book a room somewhere nearby and have at him. Our girl screams, calls them perverts, and says if they seriously want to say that to their little sister, and she thought they were telling her something useful. Our girl flings her pillow at them. She pushes them out of her room and tells them to leave and never come back. Sojung tells her that they're only doing this for her own good. She should just listen to them. They know what they're talking about. She slams the door in their faces as she says that she's not going to listen to them. She leans on the door and asks herself, what is wrong with them? She should have never listened to them in the first place. Her sisters realize what she just did. One asks her if she just slammed the door in their face. One tells her to open the door this instant. Our girl looks hesitant at the clothes they got for her. She asks herself if she looks that dull in these clothes. She thought it was a standard office look. She looks unsure and thinks that maybe she could try some earrings for a change. She puts on a set of earrings and looks in the mirror. She is amazed that it does make a difference. She doesn't look half bad. She wonders if she has any clothes to go with these. Now what should she wear? She gets dressed and comes out of the room and heads to the front door as she goes. She shouts to the older women in the household that she is heading out now. Her mom stops her, and she asks what's wrong. Her mom gives her an item and tells her to take it with her and asks what it is. Her mom says that she made some side dishes. It's mostly dried foods, so they won't smell as much, and she made them for Dohun. She thinks that how much food did she pack in this bag for it to be so heavy? The older version of her tells her that she's sure a man who lives alone doesn't really have a lot of food at home. Our girl says, please, Mom, not her too. Our mom tells her to tell him to stop by sometime. She'll cook him the biggest meal he has ever had. Our heroine says that she's going to scare him away. Why doesn't any of them get it? Her mom gives her a playful hit on the shoulder and says our girl is silly and she's the one not getting it. Men like that are hard to find. She has to make him hers before anyone else takes him. Granny joins the convo as she says that her mother is absolutely right. Dajung should tell her grandson-in-law to visit them soon. She'll make sure they decide a wedding date before he leaves. Our girl looks bewildered as she says, grandson-in-law? Please, Grandma, they're not ready for that yet. Granny says that she shouldn't be silly. She's sure that she is enjoying this as well. Our girl thinks that it's like she's talking to a wall. They just won't quit until they either get married or split up. What is she going to do with them? Our girl breaks a sweat as she tells them she's going to head out to work now. Next, we see our guy focused on the documents in front of him. A knock interrupts him and he says, come in. Chun-hee comes in and says, hello, Mr. Ji. He says, hello, Miss So. What brings her here? She bows and stumbles over her words. Then she says in a hurry that he should please forgive her for poking fun at him and Dajung last week while drinking, sir. Once a year she gets so drunk that she can't even recognize her own husband. Unfortunately, last Friday happened to be that day. Now she knows how rude she was to him and Dajung. She sincerely wants to apologize, sir. She gulps when she finishes speaking as she waits for him to respond. He looks coldly at her. She adds that she knows what she said was highly inappropriate. If he wants her to beg for forgiveness, she'll kneel at his feet right here. That's not enough. She'll drag herself on her knees up and down the tallest mountain. He asks her, is that it? Our favorite coworker looks close to tears as she asks if she should go to the Himalayas or Mount Everest instead. Our guy cackles at her words. He says that she really doesn't understand what he needs to forgive her for. that night, he wasn't there as his team lead, was he? Chun-hee looks surprised at his words. He says that he's saying he went there as Miss Han's boyfriend, not as her superior. She was only trying to have some fun with them as friends from the office. She did take it a bit too far that night, but what happens outside of the office stays outside the office. She scratches the back of her head as she says that, but she thought he was really angry at her at the time. He says that he wasn't angry. He was just worried that Miss Han felt uncomfortable, so he was just trying to help her out. There's no need to worry about it. She doesn't need to act like it's the end of the world. Our guy says that in fact she did great that night. Chun-hee says excuse me as she looks confused. He says that she should make sure that she calls him again the next time she sees Miss Han get that drunk. She says, really? Even if it's really late at night? He says, sure, anytime. She nods and says that, oh my, she sure will, Mr. G. Then he says that he has another favor to ask. She thinks that what could he possibly ask her for? She tells him sure, to go ahead. He says that from what he has noticed so far, Han is not that good at drinking. Of course, he's all for light drinks with some friends, but they should please not make her drink too much. This is also something he'd like to ask her as Ms. Han's boyfriend, not her team lead. His words shock Chun-hee, and she blinks, doubting if her ears deceive her. She thinks that she never thought he'd ask her for such a personal favor, especially one about his girlfriend. She nods and says, okay, Mr. G. She guesses he isn't so cold-hearted after all. He says, what was that? She tells him nothing. Mr. G. She was just thinking about how well the two of them suit each other. She says that she is really happy to see him and Dajung as a couple. If she ever needs any advice or help, he should please not hesitate to call her. He tells her thank you now. Then his expression turns cold as he says that he has a question to ask her as her team lead. When is she going to submit her report on the oil refinery construction in Indonesia? She looks flustered as she says, oh, today, hold on, no, tomorrow, she believes. He hums and says, but he remembers that the deadline was scheduled for this morning. She says, oh, well. She looks shocked and thinks that is this really the same person she was just talking to before. She looks nervous and awkward as she apologizes. He says that if she's going to turn it in tomorrow, he expects nothing less than perfection, since he doesn't have time to review it. She says that she'll turn it in today no matter what, sir. He nods and says, great. She should please have it done by 3 o'clock. She moves backward to the door and opens it as she says, very well. She'll be heading out now. She closes the door after herself as she thinks that was scary. He's a terrifying man. Our girl bumps into Chun-hee and calls out her name in question. She asks her if she is okay. She doesn't look too good. Chun-hee calls her name and says that she's really sorry she poked fun at her last week at dinner. She means that it won't happen again. Our girl tells her that it's fine. Everybody had fun, and so did she. Then our coworker walks away and says thanks, Dajung. She'll be off now. Our girl wonders if she's really okay or not. More importantly, why is she getting so nervous all of a sudden? She's just here to make a report. She goes to Mr. G's office and knocks on the door. She hears him say, come in, and complies. She nods her head as she realizes that of course she is nervous. How can she not be nervous in front of him? She remembers when he told her that to him, she's always worth waiting for, no matter how long it takes. She thinks that after he confessed his feelings for her, he greets her by saying, good morning, Miss Han. She jolts out of her thought as she says, yes, good morning, Mr. G. She says that she met Chun-hee in front of his office just now. Is there something wrong with her? She didn't look too good. He shakes his head and says that he's not sure. They didn't talk much. She actually came in this morning begging him for his forgiveness. She laughs and says that she guesses she was worried about what she did last Friday. The room goes quiet, and our main characters exchange an eye contact filled with various meanings. She wonders why he's staring at her like that. Gosh, she can't look him straight in the eye now. She blushes and tells herself that no, she needs to pull herself together and make the report already. She clears her throat and says that this is her report on the research and marketing strategy for the Turkish market, Mr. G. He tells her thanks, and she should let him have a look at it. He goes through the report and says good. She's done a great job in preparing the report. Our girl breaks a sweat as she mutters a few. He then tells her that there's one thing he'd like to add to it. She should please add this year's profits to the sales graph on the 3rd page. She says that she will do that, Mr. G. He says, great work. She should please include this in the agenda for tomorrow morning's meeting as well. He gives her back the report. She says okay, and she will head back to her desk then. He then says, oh, and one more thing. She flinches at his change of tone and says, yes? He grins and tells her that she looks beautiful today. She always does, but still. Our girl's heartbeats skyrocket at his words, and she thinks, oh shoot, she's afraid that she's going to fall for him quickly. Next, in the washroom, we see our girl and Chun-hee washing their hands. Our girl looks happy as she washes her hand. She hums a tune, and Chun-hee turns to look at her. She asks, did something good happen to her? Our girl says, nothing special. Why? Chun-hee asks her if she is sure. She was humming, though. Our girl asks she was? She tells her that, yeah, she was humming all the way here. Our girl wonders, was she really? Chun-hee says she knows that ever since she started dating, her face seems to be getting prettier each day. Our girl waves it off as she says, come on, what is she talking about? Chun-hee laughs and tells her to not be shy. This is the 3rd floor. The doors are opening. Chun-hee says that she needs to go to the reference room first, and then she'll head back. Our girl says okay and nods. Our hopes that every day is like today. Next, we see our girl cross paths with her ex-best friend. She thinks that today won't end well like she hoped it would. They get into the elevator and a tense silence occurs. Then Min Se breaks it and says that she has some news our girl might be interested in. Would she like to hear it? Our girl thinks, what is she going to say now? She says that she broke up with Hyunwoo. Our girl asks, what? Min smirks and asks her, doesn't she want to know why, though? Our girl says not really, it's got nothing to do with her. Min asks her if she is sure she won't regret it later. Our girl thinks regret? As if she won't let her get the best of her. The elevator dings at the 15th floor and the doors begin to open. Our girl walks out swiftly and says that she's sure she won't, and Min doesn't need to tell her. She thinks that Min always does this. She is sure she has some kind of sick, twisted intention again. Min says that, but she will surely regret it. We see the drunk manager wagging his finger and says that he knows why they say women are like Christmas cakes, right? No one knows but him. These are words of wisdom. They sell well until 24, but not after 25. Not words of wisdom. His sentiment isn't shared by the remaining workers present for the board meeting. Our girl thinks that there he goes again. He says that if 25 is already late, they should just think how late 30 would be. Chun-hee says quietly to her colleagues that they should just ignore him and they should drink. Another colleague says, that's right. It's not the first time he has spouted nonsense. The manager says, however, no matter how desperate they are, they shouldn't just grab on to anyone. He glares at our girl and says that it's important to meet someone who is on the same level as you. Our girl thinks that he clearly wants her to hear that. He's so mean. Especially when it comes to marriage, that's when they really have to meet someone on the same level as you. Her spicy mind rants that she can't take it anymore. She wonders what is the matter with him. She thinks that it's not like she got engaged to Mr. G or went around telling people that they were going to get married. The way he's talking right now makes it seem like she stole Mr. G from his daughter. She trembles from how angry she is. Chun-hee holds her hand and whispers into her ears that she shouldn't mind him at all. She knows how he takes it out on them after the directors remind him how incompetent he is. She shouldn't let his insecurities get to her. Our girl says that, but it looks like they already did, Chun-hee. Chun-hee says that she should remember how Hyunwoo used to mediate in situations like this. Even him is keeping quiet today. Hyunwoo looks blankly at them. Our girl thinks of him and remembers what her ex-best friend told her in the elevator. She thinks that could it be because of his breakup with Sia? Sia looks completely fine, though, and she's not surprised at all. Sia talks to another male coworker and laughs. She thinks that whatever, she doesn't care. What happens between the two of them is none of her business. Really? Wasn't this speech about Christmas cakes enough? In that case, our girl gets up and says that she needs to go to the restroom, and the manager calls her name. She realizes that she'll just try to avoid him at all cost. Our girl gets into the toilet and thinks that who would have thought that she would have to worry about the manager butting into her love life. She'll get some fresh air before heading back inside. She comes outside and sits on a pair of benches and thinks that, gosh, she tried not to think about it, but she just can't. She remembers when Min said she broke up with Hyunwoo. She wonders why did Seiya say such things. She did see them fight the other day, but she never thought they'd break up like that. Next, we see Hyunwoo walk up to her and call out her name. He asks her what she is doing here. Our girl says that it felt too stuffy in there, so she came out for some fresh air. He says that she came out because of the manager, right? He could see that he was giving her a hard time. She admits that it's not the first time, though. He says that he thinks it's gotten worse ever since she started going out with Mr. G. She says that she thinks he just can't get over the fact that they're going out. To be honest, she understands where he's coming from. He asks her what she means that she understands. She says that, she means that Mr. G is quite well off, so she's sort of out of his league. He interrupts her and says, no, she shouldn't say that. She is an amazing person, Dajung. No one has the right to say that she's out of anyone's league. She thinks that, wow, Hyunwoo hasn't changed one bit. He's so kind. That was why she had a crush on him in the first place. She thanks him for saying that, and that she would have never thought there would be another person who would tell her that. Hyunwoo asks her if someone has told her that before. She says yes. That's what Mr. G tells her as well. He looks somber and says, he sees. She thinks that has Hyunwoo had a lot to drink? He is acting different than usual. It's strange. She makes to leave as she tells him that he came out to smoke, right? She'll head back inside. He says there's someone who he liked for a long time. He thought if he was more open about how he felt, she might realize her feelings for her. So he always tried his best to make her smile. But in the end, he guesses that they weren't meant for each other. So he gave up on her, thinking it was the best he could do for her. She realizes that he is talking about Seiya. Then he continues to say, but it was too late when he realized that he was a coward that he gave up because he didn't want to get hurt. He finally looks at her and asks her what should he do. His feelings keep bursting out even though he tries to push them back in. Even the mere sight of her makes her heart ache. She thinks that, wow, he is really speaking from his heart. He calls out her name and tells her to please tell him what would be the best thing for him to do right now. She thinks that she never thought he would come and ask her for advice. Does he not have anyone else to talk about this? She does feel sorry for him, but she doesn't want to make a fool out of herself by getting caught in the middle of their relationship. She tells him that she's sorry, and she understands he's having a hard time right now, but she really doesn't know what to tell him. She notices the tears falling from his eyes and realizes that he's crying. She tells him that if he is this upset, why doesn't he tell the person how he feels? She means he regrets that he gave up so easily, right? So he shouldn't worry about the outcome and just go for what his heart wants. Next thing, he grabs her, stands up, and pulls her in for a hug. She realizes that he must be really drunk. She calls out his name as she trembles in fear. Next thing, someone says, Mr. So. Our girl wonders what is going on. Wait, was that? We see our main guy holding Hyunwoo as he asks him what he thinks he's doing right now? If you're eager for the next chapter, drop a comment expressing your interest in a part 4. Don't forget to subscribe and ensure to hit the notification bell to stay updated. Until next time.